In 1983, Bai Yan returned from the military to marry me. At his request, I gave up my job opportunity for his sworn sister, Chu Shinro. I spent 30 years as a grass widow in my hometown, tending to his parents until their passing, then seized a chance to visit him at the military base. Only then did I realize our marriage was nothing but a sham. He and Chu Shinro had a son and a daughter. Seeing their 2 children, now around 30 years old, I had a huge fight with Boyan. He had me sent to prison on charges of undermining a military marriage. Due to years of overwork, I fell seriously ill and died in prison. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the moment Boyan proposed to me. He said the exact same words as in my previous life: "I can marry you, but you must give the job opportunity to Shinro, she needs it more than you do." My first instinct was to claw that black-hearted bastard's face to shreds. I looked at the strikingly handsome man before me, but his eyes held nothing but contempt for me, not a trace of the shy flutter one might expect from a confession. I knew then that I had truly been reborn, and for a moment, I was overwhelmed with excitement. When I remained silent, Bai Yan assumed I was overjoyed, yet his expression grew even more stern. He asked coldly, "Do you understand what I'm saying? If you want to marry me, you must give up your job to Shinro. She needs this position more than you do to support herself. Your parents are both employed, and you'll have other opportunities in the future. There's no need to cling to this one." Bai Yan's words sounded like an accusation, but what right did he have? In my past life, having secretly admired Bai Yan for 3 years, I accepted his proposal without a moment's hesitation when he asked to marry me. After hearing about Chu Shinro's situation, I softened and ended up giving her the opportunity that was rightfully mine. Chu Shinro ended up going to the military hospital that was originally meant for me. The director thought I was ungrateful and never gave me another promotion opportunity. Later, he even made up an excuse to demote me from a doctor to a nurse. He claimed it was Bai Yan's idea, saying it would allow me to focus more on taking care of the family. From then on, I stayed in my hometown as a lowly nurse, tending to Bai Yan's parents with nothing but a marriage certificate to my name. 1. Bai Yan always used work as an excuse, only coming home once every 2 or 3 years, and never sharing a bed with me. He claimed it was out of respect, saying he didn't treat me like a housemaid. He also promised that someday he'd give me the dignity I deserved. I lived like a widow for 30 years, tending to Bai Yan's parents until they passed, before finally packing my things to seek him out at the military base. I thought I would be met with dignity and Bai Yan's care. To my surprise, I saw Bai Yan and Chu Shinro holding hands in the military compound, accompanied by a pair of children calling them mom and dad. Seeing the 2 children, who were nearly 30 years old, I realized I had been completely deceived. I finally confirmed the truth. Bai Yan had married Chu Shinro behind my back and started a family with children. I became the biggest joke. Furious, I charged forward and slapped Bai Yan and Chu Shinro repeatedly. Bai Yan shielded Chu Shinro and shoved me to the ground. I was then dragged off to a cell by the guards. I tried to explain the situation to the authorities, but Bai Yan claimed I was obsessively pursuing him and that the marriage certificate was a fake I had arranged. Only then did I realize Bai Yan never intended to protect my reputation. He had used me completely, and now he was pinning the blame and disgrace on me. I snatched that marriage certificate I'd looked at countless times, now worn and tattered. The memories of how I once cherished it stung my eyes. Amidst the stunned gazes of everyone, I tore the marriage certificate to shreds with all my might and flung it furiously at Bai Yan, cursing him to die a wretched death. He called me insane, claiming I shamelessly overstayed my welcome at the Bai residence just to pressure him into marrying me through public opinion. He only returned home once every 2 or 3 years, fearing I would pester him, and never dared bring Chu Shinro along. Worried I might harm his wife and children in a fit of rage, he told his superiors he had done everything he could for me, and they nearly had me executed on charges of sabotaging a military marriage and driving 2 elderly people to their deaths. Someone must have pleaded on my behalf, and I ended up serving 10 years in prison. Every day in that cell, I cursed Bai Yan and Chu Shinro, wishing they'd rot in the deepest pits of hell, and take their damn kid with them. Years of backbreaking labor and abuse from my in-laws had pushed my body to the brink. I suffered a heart attack in prison, and when I died, my rage was so intense that I actually came back to life. For once, fate showed me some mercy. This time, I'll make sure Bai Yan and Chu Shinro plunge into utter despair. Did you actually understand what I meant? Seeing me spaced out, Bai Yan finally lost his patience and asked me in a cold, sharp tone. I suppressed my urge to strangle Bai Yan and replied with a bitter laugh, I understood perfectly, but you've misunderstood. I have no romantic feelings for you, so I must decline your marriage proposal. As for the job opportunity, since you're so eager to help your adopted sister, you should use your own connections to get her transferred. I earned my opportunity through hard work and merit, and I have no reason, nor any intention, to hand it over to someone who's trying to cut in line. I mocked that Chu Shinro, whom Bai Yan had spoken of, was nothing but a useless airhead. Without another glance at Boyan's unpleasant expression, I turned to leave. I couldn't stand looking at that face for another second. I was afraid I might lose control and scratch that hateful face of his. Boyan stepped forward to block my path, refusing to even touch me as he spat with disgust. Isn't marriage what you wanted? Stop pretending. Don't think your privileged background gives you the right to toy with people. Mark my words, this is your only chance. If you don't take it seriously, I'll never mention marriage again after today. You'll regret this. He's still upset about it. It was only from Bai Yan's attitude that I remembered he had come to see me a few days ago. It was all to get me to voluntarily give up the job opportunity for Chu Shinro, in a fit of pique. I told him he could have the transfer opportunity for Chu Shinro if he married me. He must really be head over heels for Chu Shinro, going so far as to marry me just for her sake. Even if it's fake, it still makes me sick. Hearing him say that just made me feel like I had it coming. His humiliation snapped me back to reality. This scumbag is going to get what's coming to him. I took a few steps forward, and Bai Yan instinctively backed away, putting distance between us. I never realized in my past life how much he actually despised me, and I foolishly mistook it for respect. I must have been blind. Bai Yan, with the way you're treating me, I'm starting to doubt you actually want to marry me. Bai Yan froze for a moment, his gaze fixed on me as he suddenly clenched his fists. Still speaking coldly, he said, if you still want to marry me, give me your household register. I'll have someone get the marriage certificate tomorrow. As for the wedding photo, we'll skip it due to time constraints. After getting the certificate, I must return to the military immediately. We'll postpone the wedding banquet too, but you must clarify the job opportunity with your dean today. I let out a cold laugh inwardly. This man, even his tactics against me are exactly the same. I only blame myself for being too foolish in my past life, never suspecting anything between him and Chu Shinro. I actually thought I was being considerate of his hardships, so right after we got our marriage certificate, I immediately gave the job opportunity to Chu Shinro. Now I realize that in my past life, the two of them set me up together. They probably left together. What a perfect pair flying off side by side. It turned my beautiful life into a living hell, forever playing the bridesmaid while others took the spotlight. Gritting my teeth with rage, I stated firmly, I won't marry you. It was all a joke before. Let me make this clear once more. I have no romantic feelings for you, and I won't give up my job opportunity to Chu Shinro. If she wants it, she should improve her skills. I trust the old dean's judgment to be fair and just. Favoritism and corruption are not my family's values. When I said I wouldn't marry him, Bai Yan showed no reaction, just annoyance. But when I refused to give up the job, his face darkened, his expression turned cold and stern as he said, what do you mean by that? Just because you come from a privileged background, you think you're better than everyone else? If it weren't for your family connections, do you really think your medical skills alone would have earned you this transfer opportunity? Shinro has never been inferior to you. Your parents pulled some strings, didn't they? Is that your family's so-called values? My medical skills were highly praised by patients at the hospital. The director declared me the most promising among the younger generation, insisting that if I kept at it, I would undoubtedly make a significant impact in the community. But in my previous life, after Bai Yan and I got married, the director's attitude toward me turned cold. I was stuck struggling as a nurse, never setting foot in the operating room again. I could only watch enviously as others saved lives. And though I dreamed time and again of doing the same, I'd wake to the reality of being an ordinary person trying to please my husband and in-laws. The hands that once held a scalpel had long been roughened by household chores. It turns out Bai Yan never thought much of me from the start, and that extended to my parents as well. In my past life, I cut ties with my family to marry him, and only returned for a glimpse when my parents passed away, even until their last breath. My parents still had me in their thoughts and left me a substantial inheritance. I went to Bai Yan with that inheritance, only to end up imprisoned for 10 years. I could tolerate his words against me, but daring to speak ill of my parents, that was beyond unforgivable. I took advantage of Bai Yan's distraction, rushed forward, and clawed at his face, too. I only wish I had longer nails to truly disfigure him. Bayan's face was in excruciating pain, he shoved me away forcefully. And I staggered a few steps before steadying myself, glaring at him with pure hatred. Bayan was terrified by my glare and actions. Guiltily, he stammered, You're insane, I yelled out. Someone come quick, everyone, look at Bayan acting like a creep, call for help. My shouting drew a small crowd, and Bayan covered his face, shot me a glare, and hurried away. I spat in the direction of Bayan's retreating figure. I looked up and met the probing gaze of a man outside the low wall. Everyone else had scattered, but he remained standing there. I rolled my eyes at the man, directing the anger I felt for Bayan toward him, and snapped irritably, What are you staring at? Never seen a pretty girl lose her temper. After saying that, I turned around, opened the door, and went inside, muttering under my breath, What bad luck, who knows if that guy is carrying some virus. I need to disinfect myself. These days, there isn't even any rabies vaccine, I'd better be careful. I heard a soft chuckle behind me and turned to glare at the person. Why are you still here? Do you want me to scratch a map on your face too? The man approached with a patient smile, carrying cans and candies. His eyes softened as he spoke gently. I'm Liang Yujie, a former student of Professor Leng. I'm here to visit him. Is he home by any chance? My face flushed instantly, and I hurried to explain. I wasn't being unreasonable earlier. It's just that Mr. Bai kept pestering me. My father raised me with proper manners, I promise. The more I tried to explain, the more flustered I became. Under his calm smile, my cheeks burned crimson, and I mumbled weakly, please come in. I led him inside, and he continued in that same gentle tone, I believe Professor Leng and his wife must have mentioned me before. I took a closer look at him and said with a smile as I offered him a seat, My parents often mention you, saying you're more like their own child than I am. They did say a few days ago that you'd be coming back. Brother Liang, please sit, I'll make you some tea. I was genuinely happy and went to get the tea leaves my father had been saving. In my past life, I broke my parents' hearts, and even after marriage, I wasn't happy. That's why I couldn't face going back home to see them. I later heard that Liang Yujie visited my parents every year, and he was the one who arranged the hospital for them when they were critically ill. I secretly went to see my parents and witnessed Liang Yujie keeping vigil by their bedside all night. I was truly grateful to him at that time. I even had a memorial tablet made for him at the temple to honor his memory. My father once said that Liang Yujie was his most accomplished student, though it's a shame he later dropped out to join the military. I met him when I was a child, but I can't recall what he looked like back then. I only remember that his family was very poor. He was an orphan who lived with his grandmother after his parents passed away from illness. Later, his grandmother also passed away, and my father helped fund his middle school education. Brother Liang, have some tea. I smiled as I placed the tea beside Liang Yujie. His name was actually changed by my father, who said that while his temperament was as gentle as jade, he possessed an unyielding spirit that wouldn't break even when crushed. I hope the influence of literature will soften his character, making him gentle both inside and out. Liang Yujie chuckled and teased, after all these years apart, the little rascal has grown into a big one, still quite the fighter. I see. There was an inexplicable hint of affection in his tone that made my ears burn when I heard it. I was a troublemaker growing up, being the only girl in the family. My parents gave me free rein. I spent my childhood playing with the rowdy kids in the compound, constantly getting into fights, and it was common for people to complain about me. I don't just hit people randomly. I stopped fighting after graduation. I'm a doctor now. I know my limits. I desperately tried to explain, afraid of leaving a bad impression on him. A smile reached Liang Yujie's eyes as he suddenly asked me, I heard from the teacher that you're transferring to the military hospital. I nodded, not quite understanding why he was asking, and blinked at him curiously. He explained, I'm stationed with a unit near there. If you ever need anything, just come find me. I came in a bit of a rush today and have a meeting to attend soon. Could you let the teacher know for me? Just say I've agreed. I paused for a moment, then asked in return, what did you agree to with my dad? He gave me a meaningful glance, then rose and approached me, at 6 feet 2 inches to my 5 feet 5 inches. Standing before him made me feel petite. His shadow enveloped me completely, creating an almost suffocating sense of being cradled against him. I instinctively took 2 steps back. He said with a smile, I'll take my leave now. Next time we meet, I'll catch up with Juju properly. He pushed the door open and left my house. I hurried after him to see him off. but when I saw him speaking with his guard, I didn't dare approach. I just waved, and he waved back at me. Suddenly, I had this strange feeling like I was my mom seeing my dad off, and the fact that he'd just used my childhood nickname made me so flustered that I turned around and went back inside. The guard whispered to Leon Yuji, "That girl's got quite the temper." Leon Yuji rubbed his fingers thoughtfully and said with sincerity, "A strong temper is good, it keeps you from being bullied. Let's go." The guard asked in confusion, "Major, didn't you come here to propose? Are you leaving without doing so?" Leon Yuji mused, "Isn't free love the trend these days? It's fine to date first and marry later." The guard paused for a moment, then quickly caught up with Leon Yuji. Someone was knocking at the door. Thinking it was Leon Yuji, I hurried out to answer. The moment I opened the door and saw who it was, my pupils contracted in surprise. The woman before me wasn't exceptionally beautiful, but she had an untainted elegance about her. She was none other than Chushinro, the one who reaped all the benefits in my past life. I crossed my arms and calmly watched Chushinro. In my past life, she wasn't this impatient. She must have noticed how differently I treated Bai Yan and realized she couldn't use him to get to me. Is that why she's rushing to confront me? Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Chushinro confronted me directly. "Miss Leng, why did you reject Brother Bai's proposal? Is it because of me? I assure you, I'm just his sworn sister." "Please don't overthink it," I scoffed. "Miss, may I ask who you are? I have no connection with Bai Yan, much less with you. I suggest you watch your words." Chushinro's face flushed with embarrassment for a moment, a flicker of contempt flashing in her eyes. She stepped closer and said, "Miss Leng, don't you remember me? You saw me last time when you visited Brother Bai. I'm his sworn sister." Chushinro, "Oh, now I recall." Bai Yan did mention having a sworn sister, incompetent yet demanding good positions. Since he's quite influential, instead of wasting time with me, why not ask him to pull some strings? You clearly have feelings for him. Rather than watching him marry someone else, you should make your move. Once he's married, pursuing him would constitute sabotage of a military marriage, a serious offense. In my past life, the inheritance my parents left me was treated as the Bai family's private property. I will absolutely avenge my death in prison. At this thought, my gaze toward Chushinro turned icy cold. This woman puts on such a fragile act, as if everyone should protect her. It's the same at the hospital. She lets others handle the hard work but jumps at any benefit, all while being involved with several male colleagues inappropriately. Bai Yan had been away for years and didn't know her true character. Later, when he transferred to that military hospital, they ended up together. But it's also possible they're just a match made in hell. Maybe Bai Yan's into that kind of thing. I hope they stay together for life. They deserve each other. I can't afford to burn bridges with Chushinro just yet, so I swallowed my anger, turned around, and went inside, closing the door behind me. Chushinro gracefully returned home. Her eyes welled up the moment she saw Bai Yan still sitting in her house. "Brother Bai, it's all my fault. Not only did I fail to properly explain our relationship to Miss Leng, but I also made her think we're dating. Brother Bai, do you think she'll spread rumors? How will I ever show my face in public again?" Chushinro covered her face and burst into tears as she spoke, flustered by the situation. Bai Yan immediately rose to comfort Chushinro. "Don't be upset, Shinro. I doubt she's the type to gossip, but what if she does spread rumors? My reputation would be ruined. How could I ever marry then?" Seeing Chushinro still sobbing softly, how could Bai Yan not feel his heart ache for her? He immediately promised, "Shinro, don't worry, if your reputation suffers because of me, I'll take full responsibility." Chushinro finally stopped crying after getting his assurance and said pitifully, "Really, Brother Bai, you're not just saying that because you feel sorry for me, are you?" "How could I? Shinro, you're so kind-hearted. If I could marry you, it would be the greatest blessing of my life. Once you transfer jobs, I'll convince my parents and make you my wife." Chushinro lowered her head, her eyes filled with darkness. As expected, Bai Yan still cared about whether she had a good job. She always knew all men were the same. Then she had no choice but to find a way to get that job opportunity. Since I'm not willing to give up the job opportunity, she'll just have to force me to. When I got to work on Monday, I suddenly noticed my colleagues were giving me these scrutinizing looks. They were even talking behind my back. 3. Just because they come from a privileged background, they even landed this great job through connections. Seriously, you don't think there's something shady going on? Whatever, guess it pays to be good looking. Some people just have that natural advantage of reeling others in. "Who are you talking about?" I grabbed the nurse who had just spoken and confronted her. The nurse looked embarrassed and said, "I wasn't talking about you. Don't take everything so personally." "That's right, Miss Lung. They're just gossiping without meaning any harm." Chu Shinro appeared out of nowhere, standing by my side and speaking up for the others while holding on to me. The young nurse immediately straightened up upon seeing Chu Shinro. "Dr. Chu, you have to back us up. We were just talking about some scheming women. It's Miss Lung who's being overly sensitive. They keep calling me Miss over and over. I know exactly what they're implying," I replied with a sarcastic, insincere smile. "This is a hospital. If you want to play the servant, take it outside." "What nonsense are you spouting? Who said anything about wanting to be a servant?" I stopped smiling and said coldly, "Then watch your language. This is a hospital. There are no young mistresses here. Please address me as Dr. Lung. What do you think, Dr. Chu?" Chu Shinro looked embarrassed for a moment before forcing a smile. "Dr. Lung is right. We're all colleagues and should support each other. I'm sure Dr. Lung won't dwell on a few harmless remarks, will you?" Several nurses chimed in. "Exactly, Dr. Chu is so magnanimous. If you ask us, the transfer opportunity should have gone to her. The director is clearly playing favorites. What future do ordinary people like us even have here?" A flicker of triumph flashed in Chu Shinro's eyes. I knew this was her scheme all along, egging others on to fight me while she reaps the benefits. True heroes aren't judged by their origins. If you choose to wallow in your own failures, don't blame others for being exceptional. Some people will never amount to anything in life. I turned to leave after speaking, but Chu Shinro stopped me. "Dr. Lung, do you dare to make a bet with me?" "Bet?" My heart swelled with excitement. Chu Shinro was taking the bait. Chu Shinro continued, "It's a bet on our medical skills, on patient satisfaction. If I prove to be better than you must give up this transfer opportunity." "Better than me, Dr. Chu? Your words are far more impressive than your skills." "Lin Qiongzhu, what's with your attitude towards Shinro?" Bai Yan suddenly appeared and pulled me aside. Afraid I might bully his dear sworn sister, Chu Shinro stepped closer, tugging at Bai Yan's sleeve and said pitifully, "Brother Bai, it's my own incompetence. I deserve to be looked down upon." I curled my lip. This woman is such a phony. "Lin Qiongzhu, I order you to apologize to Shinro. How dare you go this far? Just because I can't marry you doesn't mean you have to take it out on her." Is Bai Yan's ego getting a bit out of hand? "Bai Yan, get your facts straight. It was your sworn sister who challenged me. I didn't start this. If anyone should apologize, it's her to me." Bai Yan froze for a moment, then turned to look at Chu Shinro. Tears of grievance welled up in Chu Shinro's eyes, her gaze appearing clear and pitiful. Bai Yan's heart softened. "Brother Bai, I just want a fair chance to compete. I believe in my medical skills, and I hope you'll believe in me too." Bai Yan immediately sided with Chu Shinro, saying to me, "Shinro's medical skills have always been superior to yours. You know better than anyone how you got to where you are." I was absolutely furious, so I grabbed Boyan and slapped him across the face when he least expected it. "Was getting your face busted not enough? Were you asking for another slap? Did I give you too much respect? Or was I too lenient with both of you? If you have no shame, that's your problem. Don't come looking for attention here." After I hit Boyan, things instantly blew up. It all escalated and ended up in the dean's office. The director called me in first and scolded me. "What's the point of picking fights with them? The better your medical skills are, the more humble you should be. If you've got energy to spare, you should be doing more surgeries instead. By the way, we have a VIP patient today. This operation can't afford any mistakes. You'll be handling this one." The director really admired my surgical skills, so he always assigned me the most critical operations. But suddenly, Chu Shinro burst into the room and confronted the director. "Director, you're playing favorites. You keep giving all the opportunities to Dr. Lung. How are the rest of us supposed to grow as doctors?" The director frowned. I sneered inwardly, using patience as practice for growth. How could Chu Shinro even say that with a straight face? Some patients only get one shot at survival. Opening them up is a life or death battle. There's no tie, only victory or defeat. Bai Yan entered the room too, seeing the condition of his face. The dean pressed his lips tightly and glared at me sternly, guiltily. I couldn't bring myself to meet the dean's eyes. "Alright, since Dr. Chu is so confident, I'll give you this opportunity, but let me be clear, this patient is special. There must be absolutely no mistakes, or it could cost you your career." Chu Shinro didn't take the director's words to heart. Instead, she assured him, "Don't worry, director. My medical skills are far from amateur. after leaving the director's office. Chu Shinro went to prepare for the surgery. Since I had no operation scheduled for the morning, I decided to review the patient's records the director had mentioned. Just then, Bai Yan stopped me in my tracks and said, "Feeling pleased with yourself now, are you? What am I happy about?" "Oh, if you mean I'm happy about hitting you, then yes, I did feel pretty good after that." "What, you want to offer yourself up for a couple more hits?" I looked at Bai Yan with a provocative glare. I was always a thorny rose in full bloom, but in my past life, my love for Bai Yan turned me into the delicate daughter vine he preferred. But in this life, I'll make sure he understands, roses have thorns, and not just anyone can lay a hand on them. Lin Qiongzhu, don't you dare think that just because I tolerated you once means I have any feelings for you. It's you who likes me. I never forced you into this, so you knew all along. That's why you trampled on my feelings and spread rumors about me. Bai Yan, you're truly beneath my respect. You don't deserve my affection. From today onward, I no longer care for you. You don't like me anymore. Bai Yan's expression turned cold and distant. I nodded. That's right. I don't like you anymore. There's someone else I'm interested in now. Bai Yan narrowed his cold eyes, but I paid him no mind and turned to head to the office. Just then, the hospital director rushed out, shouting, "Quick, Qiongzhu, Dr. Chu messed up. The patient is in critical condition. Get ready for surgery immediately." I was stunned. How could Chu Shinro be so incompetent? The surgery had barely started, and she'd already made a mistake. Did she botch the incision or something? As the chief surgeon went to change into his scrubs, I shoved Boyan and sneered, "So this is what you call medical excellence? What are patients to you? Just chips in your gambling game, you disgraceful bastards." I didn't even bother to look at the shock on Boyan's face. I hurriedly changed into surgical gear with the chief and rushed to the operating room. At that moment, Chu Shinro stood outside the operating room drenched in blood, her entire body trembling uncontrollably. The nurses who had spoken up for her earlier were now standing by silently, too afraid to utter a word. The director and I spent 5 grueling hours in the operating theater, finally pulling the patient back from the brink of death and transferring them to the ICU. Exhausted after leaving the OR, I supported the utterly spent director, who could barely walk, to get some rest. Just then, Chu Shinro and Bai Yan approached and blocked the director's and my path. "Director, I truly didn't mean for this to happen. It was an accident." The director looked at Chu Shinro with profound disappointment and said, "Dr. Chu, in our profession, there is no room for accidents, ever. Any mishap is a violation of the sanctity of life. You are not cut out to be a doctor. I'm reassigning you to nursing duties. If the patient insists on holding you accountable, you'll have to face the consequences on your own." In the end, the director showed mercy by dealing with Chu Shinro preemptively, a move that ultimately saved her life. Had they waited for the patient to wake up, a simple demotion would have been the least of her worries. Bai Yan still wanted to protect Chu Shinro. He said earnestly, "Director, Shinro didn't do it on purpose. It must be that the nurses provided incomplete information, which led to her inaccurate judgment." "Yes, that's exactly it. The incomplete information is what clouded my judgment." As soon as Chu Shinro said those words, the nurses who had helped prepare the documents turned pale. I wasn't about to indulge either of them. I said bluntly, "As doctors, if you can't even identify where the problem lies, how dare you call yourselves doctors? Director, let's go. There's no point talking to these incompetents, we'll only end up frustrated." I helped the dean leave, leaving Bai Yan grinding his teeth in frustration. Chu Shinro asked Bai Yan tearfully, "Brother Bai, what should I do now?" I really didn't mean to. The dean always favors Dr. Lung, so I rarely get hands-on experience. That's why I made a mistake. Brother Bai, you have to believe me." Bai Yan comforted Chu Shinro, saying, "I believe you. Don't worry, I'll help you figure this out." Chu Shinro hugged Bai Yan and said, "Thank you, Brother Bai." Several nurses were pointing and whispering about them, and Boyan pulled Chu Shinro aside. Chu Shinro clenched her fists. After this failure, she couldn't afford to wait any longer. Otherwise, Boyan would definitely kick her to the curb. After work, I was walking my bike and ran into Bai Yan on the road. Just as expected, he stood there in the wind, looking like he'd been waiting for a while. I pretended not to see him and started to ride off, but he grabbed the back of my bike and said, "Dr. Lung, let's talk." I replied impatiently, "There's nothing to discuss between us." Bai Yan replied, "I admit I underestimated your medical skills before, and I apologize, but I must say, Shinro isn't a bad person. This was truly an accident. So, Could you talk to the dean and take responsibility for this incident? I smiled. The night breeze was just right, and I believed my smile looked captivating, enough to leave Bai Yan utterly stunned. Taking advantage of his dazed state, I reached out and slapped him hard across the face. Staggering back 2 steps, he finally let go of my car. Are you sober now? Who do you think you are, telling me what to do? If you're so concerned about Chu Shinro, why don't you take responsibility yourself? Stay out of my way from now on, or I'll make you regret it every time I see you. Ugh, my palm stung from hitting him, but I felt much better afterward. I didn't notice Bai Yan's intense gaze fixed on my back in the darkness, for, from that moment on, his attitude toward me completely changed. By the time I realized it, I had already been transferred to the military hospital and run into him twice. I've been here for a while now and am getting used to the new hospital. Running into Bai Yan once felt like a coincidence, but seeing him a second time was just unsettling. Dr. Lung, hello, I'm here for a consultation. I don't treat andrology cases. You'll need to see another department. I mocked Boyan for being unmanly, but he didn't get angry. He just said, Shinro will be joining us at work in a few days. I hope you two can get along well. Me, seriously, is there something wrong with this guy's head? All my harsh words and slaps couldn't even begin to fill the void in his delusional mind. Bai Yan, you're actually quite capable, aren't you? Wishing you and Chu Shinro a lifetime of happiness and a baby soon. I couldn't be bothered to respond to him, but Bai Yan blocked my way and even tried to grab my arm, which made me step back in alarm. What are you doing? A gentleman uses his words, not his hands. Haven't you laid hands on me enough times? I only hit you because you had it coming. Bai Yan pressed his lips together, his expression turning serious as he said, I only see Shinro as a sister. Lin Qiongzhu, I've realized I've fallen for you. I want to start over with you. Me, what the? I took a few steps back, looking at Boyan as if he were insane. Wait, did I slap some sense into him and turn him into a lovesick fool? Is he into this kind of thing? Heaven knows the truth, he likes me, but I don't feel the same. Boyan continued, don't worry about me liking Shinro, I only like you. My hair stood on end, and I turned around and walked away. Bai Yan shouted from behind, I'll come to your house to propose next time I'm on leave. Are you out of your mind? I don't like you. Even if you propose, I won't marry you. I have no idea what's gotten into Bai Yan, but no matter what, I won't have anything to do with him. If it has to come to something, I'd rather it be a fight to the death between us. As I stepped out of the hospital, someone called out to me, Zhu. I frowned. Not just anyone gets to call me by that nickname, but when I saw who it was, my irritation vanished. I smiled and said, Brother Liang, the teacher mentioned you were coming. I haven't had a chance to see you until now. Let's go. I'll treat you to a welcome dinner. The moment I saw Liang Yujie, my mind started calculating. During the meal, I asked Liang Yujie, Brother Liang, are you married? Liang Yujie paused while serving me food, placed my favorite spring roll in my bowl, and then said, no. Biting my lower lip, I mustered the courage and asked, then, would you marry me? Liang Yujie looked up, his eyes sparkling with amusement as he gazed at me, making my cheeks burn with embarrassment. Well, Bai Yan keeps pestering me, and I don't like him. I don't want to give him any chance to bother me. Then do you like me? Liang Yujie's tone was calm and composed as he asked the question. I froze, staring at Liang Yujie's strikingly handsome yet stern face, and the commanding presence that radiated authority without him even raising his voice. He's an exceptional man. Of course I'd be drawn to him, in this lifetime. I refuse to live like a widow. Is it too much to ask for a high-quality man? I served Liang Yujie some food and whispered, I like you, that's why I want to marry you. Liang Yujie's grip on his chopsticks tightened slightly before he suddenly asked, did you bring your ID? I didn't quite catch that. Didn't you say you wanted to marry me? I happen to have time today, we could go get our marriage license. As for the wedding ceremony and betrothal gifts, I'll make time to arrange those properly later. What do you think? His grip on the chopsticks tightened, his knuckles turning white. I stroked my chin and said, sure, why not? 3 hours later, Liang Yujie and I each held a red booklet in our hands. Inside were our hastily taken wedding photos. Brother Liang, shouldn't we be using a different form of address now? So what do you want me to call you? Honey, Liang Yujie. The tips of his ears turned red, and his gaze held a profound depth as he looked at me. With a hint of laughter in his voice, he said, I've got a mission these next few days. How about I help you move once I'm back? I murmured in agreement, though I wasn't in any particular hurry to move in with Liang Yujie. Actually, I am quite eager. after all, I don't want to live like a widow in this lifetime. Looking at Liang Yuje's impressive physique, I felt a sudden rush of heat to my nose and nearly got a nosebleed. After Liang Yuje left on his mission, I returned to my daily routine. Lately, Bai Yan has surprisingly backed off and hasn't bothered me, which has put me at ease, but lately, there have been some rumors circulating in the hospital about my personal life. They say I've been seducing military officers, and it's caused quite a stir among the patients. Many patients, especially the female ones, are reluctant to see me for treatment. Instead, they go to Chu Shinro, who's a nurse, for medical care. Chu Shinro's reputation has been growing steadily, with everyone praising her for both her beauty and kindness. Gradually, rumors started circulating that I was a beneficiary of nepotism, having transferred to this hospital by leveraging a man's influence. The hospital director was under significant pressure and spoke with me several times. It wasn't until I showed him my marriage certificate that he finally felt reassured. As I stepped out of the director's office holding my marriage certificate, I ran into Bai Yan. His eyes reddened as he stared at me, lips trembling. "You're married, to whom? What's it to you? Whoever I marry, it certainly won't be you." Bai Yan grabbed me forcefully, shouting angrily, "You can't marry anyone else, you were the one who started this, you can only marry me." I struggled with all my might, pushing against Bai Yan. "Have you lost your mind? I'd rather stay single forever than marry you." "Bai Yan, you disgust me. Go marry Chu Shinro instead." Bai Yan's lips twitched as he spoke urgently. "You're jealous, aren't you? Don't worry, I have no romantic feelings for Shinro. It's you I like, Cheongju. Please listen to me, let's go get our marriage certificate. I promise I'll treat you well." "Alright." Furious, I reached out and yanked Bai Yan's ear, putting force into it. "No, absolutely not. Bai Yan, I don't love you. I have a husband. If you keep harassing me, I'll report you for interfering with a military marriage." My words struck Bai Yan like a blow, leaving him frozen in place, his eyes filled with disbelief. He snatched the marriage certificate from my hands, and as his eyes focused on the names, his pupils contracted sharply. "5. How could it be him? Are you two together already? He's on a mission. There's no way you could have been with him." I find Bai Yan absolutely disgusting. First, he said he didn't like me, and now he's meddling in who I'm with. This guy is the classic wanting to have his cake and eat it too. "Bai Yan, I've done nothing wrong to you. If you let Chu Shinro spread rumors about me again, I swear I won't let either of you off easy. When my husband gets back, I'm telling him everything." I snatched the marriage certificate from Boyan's hand and turned to leave without another word, completely oblivious to the bloodshot rage and predatory hunger in Boyan's eyes. "I won't let him come back, since you're married now. Being widowed should work just fine. I won't give you up to anyone." I thought I had made things clear with Boyan, and Chu Shinro had indeed settled down. Chu Shinro came to see me that day, begging for my help. "You must have plenty of tricks up your sleeve. Given your military background, you could ruin my reputation. Why not tarnish your own to get what you want? Wouldn't Bai Yan have to acknowledge you then?" Chu Shinro was taken aback, then fell silent. I knew she had taken it to heart. I want them to turn on each other. Sure enough, the next day, Boyan showed up in front of me looking completely disheveled. I was genuinely shocked. There were even suggestive marks on his neck. "It was you, wasn't it? You put her up to this. Do you think so little of my love?" He even had the nerve to question me. I retorted sarcastically, "Even if I sent Chu Shinro to you, you'd have to be willing, judging by your reaction. This isn't the first time, is it? Why play the chaste saint now?" Bai Yan's face turned ashen. He wanted to explain but found himself at a loss for words. Chu Shinro followed close behind, her neck bearing similar marks. Clinging to Bai Yan's arm, she shot me a look brimming with smug satisfaction. "Brother Bai, you must be exhausted from yesterday. Why did you run off? Come back with me, won't you?" Bai Yan shook off Chu Shinro's hand, and she burst into tears. "Brother Bai, are you trying to shirk responsibility? I gave you my innocence, you can't treat me like this." I was taken aback. Chu Shinro was actually still a virgin. It seems Bai Yan got the short end of the stick. When you're drunk, whether you're innocent or not is entirely up to Chu Shinro to decide. Bai Yan's face was as cold as ice, looking at Chu Shinro as if seeing her for the first time. "The only reason I touched you was because you drugged me, wasn't it?" Chu Shinro's face turned deathly pale. "I won't expose you. But don't expect me to take responsibility. It's Lin Cheongju I love, not you. What I feel for you is nothing more than brotherly affection." I rolled my eyes so hard. "Give me a break. What kind of siblings act like this?" I said coldly. "You two chat. I've got patients to attend to. The way they were carrying on like that, and showing up together, Chu Shinro clearly did her homework. Their reputations are pretty much ruined. I don't want any part of that mess. Cobain grabbed my arm and said, "You're not going anywhere, we need to talk this through." I found it almost laughable. There's nothing left to discuss between us. It's you and Chu Shinro who need to clear the air. But your affairs are none of my business. My icy demeanor drained Cobain of any will to stop me. He dragged Chu Shinro outside instead, saying, "Let's get this settled, brother Kobai. I might be carrying your child. How can you treat me like this because of another woman?" This reminded Bai Yen, who had someone find contraceptive pills and force them down Chu Shinro's throat. When we met again, Chu Shinro glared at me like a resentful wife. "Are you satisfied now? My reputation is ruined, and Bai Yen still won't marry me. You've had your revenge." I thought to myself, not enough, then find a way to get pregnant. Using a child to tie down a man, isn't that a good strategy? Chu Shinro hesitated for a moment, then gritted her teeth and left. After some time had passed, I began to feel restless. Liang Yujie had said he'd only be gone for a few days, but it had been quite a while, and there was still no word from him. I didn't want to pry into his affairs, but I couldn't help worrying that something might have happened to him. That evening, the hospital director called and asked me to take charge of a surgery. My vision went black the moment I saw the person lying on the bed. I nearly fainted. It was Liang Yujie lying there. There's no time to explain. Major Liang was ambushed and is hanging by a thread. The order from above is to pull him back from death's door at all costs. Dr. Lung, we need your cooperation. I nodded calmly, thinking to myself, I absolutely cannot let Liang Yujie die. After all the prayers I offered for Liang Yujie in my past life, did they all go to waste for someone as good as him? Why do good people suffer so much, while the wicked seem to sail through life unscathed? Steadying my hand with the scalpel, I vowed to save Liang Yujie's life. If fate refused to be just, then I would create justice myself. After 8 grueling hours of surgery, we finally pulled Liang Yujie back from the brink of death. As I stepped out of the operating room, my legs gave way, my vision went black, and I passed out. When I opened my eyes, I saw Bai Yan's face. His expression was twisted, and the way he looked at me was even more terrifying. "You're awake." The tone was icy cold. "This is my home." Me. Those 2 words sent chills down my spine. "Why am I at your place? Shouldn't I be in the hospital? I had someone bring you here. I can't stand you being with Liang Yujie, not even for a minute. He won't take you away from me. Xiongju, you're supposed to be my woman." He was looking at me with such a perverted gaze that it made me sick to my stomach. "Have you lost your mind? I'm married, it doesn't matter. Liang Yujie won't live through the night. By tomorrow you'll be a widow, and I'll be your husband. I won't hold it against you. I'm the one who's disgusted by you. You bastard. You're the one who went after Liang Yujie, aren't you? I hope you die a horrible death." Bai Yan curled the corner of his lips without any warmth. "Even if I die, I'll die together with you." His words terrified me. Why was Bai Yan suddenly so obsessed with me? He must be out of his mind. When I loved him, he didn't appreciate it. Now that I don't, what's with this self-pitying act? My body felt weak and limp. I stared at Bai Yan in panic as he calmly said, "I just gave you a mild sedative. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. Once Liang Yujie is gone and we're married, I'll set you free." "Xiongju, please don't refuse me. You know I can't bear to hear you say no, right? What are you planning to do to brother Liang? He's a good man. Please don't hurt him." In that instant, I was overcome with the urge to take Bai Yan down with me. "Would you marry me if he weren't dead? Whether he's good or bad doesn't matter to me. If he stands between us, he has to die." Bai Yan had completely lost his mind. I replied meekly, "I'll divorce him and marry you, but I demand a proper wedding ceremony. You must make it clear to everyone that I was never the other woman in your relationship." Bai Yan's expression softened slightly, his eyes gazing at me with tenderness as he said, "Of course you're not the other woman. I know you're an exceptional girl. Don't worry, if you marry me, I'll make you the happiest woman alive." I looked up to meet Chu Shinro, who was coming through the door with a meal, and gave her a gentle smile. "I trust you, but what about Shinro? Should we treat her like a little sister?" Bai Yan glanced back at Chu Shinro, noticing her face had turned pale. He stood up and led her out of the room. I waited restlessly, unable to sit still. Bai Yan returned shortly, though there was a suspicious mark at the corner of his lips. It seemed calming Shinro down had taken quite some effort. "Shinro won't come between us. I'll treat her like a sister. You're the only one I love." Noticing my distraction, he suddenly said, "Once Liang Yujie is dead, I'll take you to get married, Cheongju, you're mine, I won't stand by and watch another man have you. A chill ran down my spine. This man deserves to die, the sooner, the better. I didn't want to be at a disadvantage, so I tried to coax him gently, hoping he'd feel for me and stop giving me the medication. The next day, Bai Yan came back looking awful after a night of drinking. I learned from Chu Shinro that Liang Yujie had been transferred to another hospital. He was moved to a place inaccessible to ordinary people. Great, the director took my advice. Now we just have to wait for Liang Yujie to wake up. Bai Yan still had a shred of conscience and didn't force himself on me, but the way he looked at me grew increasingly brazen. I knew if I didn't save myself soon, I'd truly fall into his clutches. Even if I could get revenge later, it wouldn't be worth sacrificing myself in the process, so I actively flattered Bai Yan, letting him believe I was falling for him again. When he couldn't restrain himself, he still couldn't bring himself to touch me and would go find Chu Shinro instead. Nearly a month passed like this, and I discovered that Chu Shinro was pregnant. I provoked her with my words, convincing Chu Shinro to let me go. Chu Shinro agreed, but when I ran off late at night, Bai Yan noticed and chased after me. She tried to stop him, but he kicked her aside, clutching her stomach and screaming. She collapsed to the ground, bleeding heavily. I ran away without looking back, not feeling an ounce of pity for Chu Shinro. If I go back to save Chu Shinro, I'll never be able to escape again, and she'll turn against me for losing the child. Then I'm completely done for. Bai Yan chased me into the street, and I screamed for help. Suddenly, someone blocked my way. As soon as they got a clear look at me, they shouted, "Found them, grab Bai Yan, quick." Then I saw Liang Yujie. In an instant, all my grievances welled up in my heart, yet I was still worried about his severe injuries. He tried to hold me, but there were so many bandages that he couldn't find a way to embrace me. 6. I held his hand and cried, "Why did it take you so long to come find me? I've been bullied to death. It's alright now. It's alright. It's all my fault. Nothing like this will ever happen again." Liang Yujie's voice was filled with tenderness and concern. I felt a bit embarrassed in front of so many people. Bai Yan glared fiercely at Liang Yujie and said, "You're still alive, you should be dead. Give Cheongju back to me, she belongs to me." Liang Yujie shielded me in his arms and said to Bai Yan, "Bai Yan, you leaked military secrets and harmed our comrades. You'll have to answer for your crimes in prison." Liang Yujie took me home. I later heard that Chu Shinro's miscarriage was discovered too late, leading to a hysterectomy. She barely survived. Upon learning that Bai Yan was sentenced to over 40 years in prison, she immediately claimed he had forced her, but no one believed her. As soon as she recovered, she started looking for her next partner. Her reputation at the hospital took a nosedive, and the only patients seeking her care were shady men. When Bai Yan's parents found out and made a scene at the hospital, everyone learned she'd gotten the job through connections. She lost her position, had a tarnished reputation, and had no choice but to slink back to her hometown in disgrace. Back home, when people found out she couldn't have children, her parents married her off as a second wife to a widower with kids. She spent the rest of her life being abused and berated by that older man. In her old age, with no one to care for her, she was cast out and left to live in a makeshift thatched hut. During a storm, the hut collapsed in the high winds, and she was crushed to death inside. It wasn't discovered until it had already gone bad. 2 years into my marriage with Liang Yujie, one evening after dinner, Liang Yujie kissed my eyes with passion, his gaze full of longing for me, and he pleaded, "Juju, don't you think it's time we had a child?" I nudged his shoulder and said, "Enough already, we're an old married couple. Why are you so clingy, darling? I want to kiss you." Liang Yujie leaned in and kissed me as he spoke. Someone outside called out, reporting, "Master Liang, I have something to report to you." Liang Yujie pulled away from my neck and said with difficulty, "Wait for me to come back." I found him quite amusing. Liang Yujie genuinely likes me. He said he's found me adorable since I was a child, though he never had any ulterior motives back then. After I grew up, my parents felt my temperament made them uneasy about entrusting me to just anyone. So they wanted him to take me in. That time he came back was actually to meet me through a matchmaking arrangement. If I agreed, he would have proposed. Later, when he realized I only married him to use him as an escape from Bai Yan, he went along with it anyway, but gradually, he started wanting more. He wants me to love him. He knew that I confessed my suspicions of Bai Yan and Chu Shinro to the director in the operating room, and the director transferred Liang Yujie on my advice. He said I was his savior. He also said he had been looking for me ever since he woke up. but unfortunately, Bai Yan hid me too well, and they couldn't find me. That day, they followed Chu Shinro to find Bai Yan, which is how they ended up finding me. I gently touched my belly and smiled faintly. I was actually already pregnant. In this lifetime, I didn't end up alone, and I sent my enemies to a place worse than hell. Life is full of suffering, but let's see how they endure it all. As for me, I will live happily with my parents, Liang Yujie, and our children. Bai Yan never really cared about Ling Qiongzhu. He thought she was too delicate and spoiled, while Chu Shinro was different. But gradually, Ling Qiongzhu stopped being gentle and accommodating toward him, even saying she didn't love him anymore, which made Bai Yan panic. Only then did he realize that Ling Qiongzhu already held his heart, yet she refused to turn back, no matter what. Bai Yan never intended anything with Chu Shinro. It was just that he mistook someone else that night, and it led to a grave mistake. The moment he woke up, he thought, it's over, but he was still greedy. Even if Ling Qiongzhu was unwilling, he wanted her whole heart, her undivided love. Later, he clearly saw Ling Qiongzhu's attitude toward Liang Yujie and realized she truly meant what she said. As expected, she had abandoned him. All that followed was Bai Yan's greed, hatred, and delusion, his own sins that dragged many others down with him. Unfortunately, the one he most wanted dead, Liang Yujie, survived. While in prison, he heard that Ling Qiongzhu had given birth to a son and been promoted to chief physician, earning widespread praise. On his deathbed during a critical illness, he wished to see Ling Qiongzhu one last time at the hospital. Sadly, all he caught was a glimpse of her back as she hurried off to perform surgery. It was just like that time they had missed each other in the past, yet he knew, this one miss would last a lifetime. Bai Yan finally breathed his last, dying with profound regret. Story 2. I chased Lu Jinyan for 7 years. After his 108th broken promise, I finally decided to give up on him. I devoted myself to serving the country, vanishing completely from his world. Then he lost his mind, turning heaven and earth upside down. Luo, come back to me, please. But this time, there would be no answer. Luo, are you absolutely certain? The Spark project requires a minimum 3-year commitment, potentially decades, with zero outside contact. I nodded firmly. With no family ties, serving our nation is my greatest honor. I actually have a fiancé, but that doesn't matter anymore. The two review officers exchanged glances, their professional resolve wavering with sympathy. What if you can never leave that facility for the rest of your life? Would that be acceptable to them? I'm just too young, so young, like a budding flower, barely unfurled, with no time to fully bloom and bask in the prosperity and blessings of this era. At 21, while others' children are still enjoying their parents' care, I unhesitatingly dedicated myself to the nation. I smiled, my resolve unwavering. If our ancestors could do it, so can I. For an era of peace and prosperity, some must always bear the burden. The two review officers had tears in their eyes as they shook my hand. Comradely, welcome to the Spark program. After signing the NDA, they left me $1 million as relocation funds, agreeing to collect me in a month. Truth be told, severing ties with this world wouldn't take a full month. Where are you? I was a little disoriented when I got Lu Jinyan's call. How long has it been since we last spoke? I've already lost track. The Lu family never liked me. This arranged marriage exists only because they owe the Li family 2 lives. My parents leveraged their life-saving favor to pressure the Lu family into taking responsibility for my future. Coming from an elite military lineage with generations of prestige, the Lus naturally look down on someone like me. But bound by honor, they can't unilaterally break off this engagement. All these years of avoiding me, it was just to make me give up. Wasn't it? I sent my WeChat location, come out, just 2 words, then the call ended. Lu Jinyan wouldn't contact me without a reason. Flipping through my notebook, I realized it's Mother Lu's birthday today. I grabbed the pre-prepared gift from my dorm and walked out of the school gate. Lu Jinyan's car had already arrived. In late autumn, the maple leaves blazed crimson, leaning casually against the Humvee door. He wore a dark uniform. Years of military service had etched an austere discipline into his bearing. A maple leaf drifted onto his shoulder. As he tilted his head upward, the razor-sharp line of his jaw pierced my vision. I stood there frozen. My mind went blank for an uncontrollable moment. Instinctively touching my chest, I gave myself a faint smile. It's okay, time heals all wounds, even this infatuation I have for him. He seemed to sense something, looking my way, his brow furrowing slightly in displeasure. Get in the car. His voice was devoid of warmth, like the late autumn wind. He hated it when I looked at him with adoration. Not even a fleeting glance was allowed. Composing myself, I settled into the back seat, discreetly avoiding any further glances his way. His hand, gripping the front door handle, paused, then released, and he walked around to the driver's side. The whole way, I simply enjoyed the late autumn scenery. No longer forcing conversation just to maintain a superficial harmony with him, as I used to. Honestly, that was exhausting. Lu Jinyan kept glancing at me in the rearview mirror, and for once, he was the first to speak, delivering takeout. I almost forgot that the Lu family had no idea I was studying at USTC, let alone that I'd entered the Gifted Youth program at 15, MHM. I replied indifferently. He rarely initiates conversation, yet I missed the cue. Lu Jinyan's brows furrowed slightly again. How have you been lately? I was taken aback. Since when did he care about me? Catching his eye in the rearview mirror, his already stern face seemed to harden even more. I could almost feel the tension in his neck. Sensing the cue, I looked away and replied, I'm fine. His tone lightened a bit. The unit's been busy with intensive training these past few months. Was he trying to explain himself? There was really no need. I smiled. I know, in the past, I would have taken the bait and run with it, but today, I didn't say another word, just turned to gaze out the window. Lu Jinyan's brow furrowed again as he kept glancing at me through the rearview mirror, but I couldn't be bothered to care anymore. The last time I contacted him was 3 months ago. It was his birthday, so I went to deliver a cake to him. I didn't really have any ulterior motives. I just wanted to wish him a happy birthday in person. He didn't see me, so I waited outside. All the way until late into the night. I saw him emerge into the night and was about to approach when someone lunged out of nowhere and stabbed me. The blade went deep, blood gushing out in torrents. My mentor Professor Zhao warned me this line of work is perilous, that my life could be targeted anytime. She'd long urged me to join a secure government agency for personal safety, yet I can't walk away. That day, I called him the moment it happened. He was right there. One turn of his head and he'd have seen me, could have saved me, but he didn't answer. Just glanced at his phone, pretended not to hear, and shoved it back in his pocket. His car vanished into the neon lights, while I lay bleeding on the pavement. After that, I knew better than to bother him again. Some truths should have been clear long ago, yet unless life hangs in the balance, we cling to foolish hope, refusing to let that flickering light within us die. When I arrived at the Lu residence, their housekeeper had already bought groceries, waiting for me to cook. Without waiting for Lu Jinyan's instructions, I changed shoes, tied on an apron, and headed straight to the kitchen. Lu Jinyan paused in the hall, watching my retreating figure for a long moment. His lips parted slightly, but no words came. Then he turned and went upstairs. Miss Li, you've worked hard. Nanny Lu looked rather awkward. Most of the dishes Madame Lu enjoys can only be prepared properly by me. Truth be told, she wasn't nearly this picky before I came to the Lu household. Even with Aunt Lu assisting me, I was so busy that I worked up a sweat. Just as the meal was nearly ready, heavy footsteps echoed on the staircase. I knew exactly who it was without looking. Chi Wei. No, she goes by Lu Wei now, though there was a time she went by Li Wei. Sharing my surname, Lu Wei was an orphan my parents sponsored. After 3 years of their support, she tearfully proposed changing her surname to honor the Li family's kindness. With her surname changed, my parents naturally took her in as their own. Later, after my parents passed, she leveraged their legacy with the Lu family to join me there. Now known as Lu Wei, she's become a true member of the Lu household, and me, the biological daughter of the Lu family's benefactor, was practically treated like half a servant. Over the years, to pay for my tuition and living expenses, I've worked as a nanny and a delivery person, so I didn't really mind being treated like a servant by the Lu family. I just saw it as my way of repaying them for taking me in after my parents passed away. Sis, let me help you. Lu Wei stood at the kitchen entrance. Her hands, once rough and dark, now looked incredibly fair and soft. It was as if even the kitchen fumes were afraid to tarnish them. She stood there frozen, utterly clueless about where to begin. Just like some pampered young miss who'd never lifted a finger in her life. I still remember how she first came to our house, dark-skinned, scrawny, with hair like dried straw piled haphazardly on her head, looking no different from a street beggar. No need, Aunt Lu, and I can handle it. I turned her down, but she insisted on proving herself, only to break a bowl and cut her hand within 3 minutes. Mrs. Lu happened to come downstairs and saw her hands covered in blood, her heart aching with distress. Oh dear. We've told you there are people to handle household chores. You don't have to work like you used to, naturally. It referred to her time with the Lee family. She was incredibly capable at the Lee household. She eagerly took on every chore from laundry to cooking, leaving our longtime housekeeper with nothing to do. So much so that the poor woman resigned out of sheer awkwardness. My parents repeatedly told her it wasn't necessary. But she'd just blink those teary eyes and insist she wanted to repay the Lee family's kindness. My parents couldn't bring themselves to argue further, so they let her have her way, but whether it was intentional or not, whenever she did chores, she'd always manage to break my cherished treasures and favorite toys. I'd cry and throw tantrums, and she'd just cower in a corner, looking so wronged and pitiful, with tears welling up in her eyes. My kind parents could never bring themselves to scold her after that. Later, when she joined the Liu family, they heard that she had taken on all the household chores at the Lee family's home from such a young age, and the Lee family had even comfortably dismissed their part-time cleaner. She was so sensible and hardworking, yet I, her arrogant and overbearing older sister, would still find fault and make things difficult for her from time to time. At that moment, Mrs. Liu felt such a pang of sympathy that she wished she could adopt her on the spot. Her slander made me sob with rage, but no matter how I tried to explain, Lu Wei's bony, calloused hands were right there, while my own skin was flawless, hardly the hands of someone who'd endured hardship. Of course no one believed me. Eventually, I stopped caring. They were strangers, and thank goodness for that. Stay out of the kitchen. Hands like yours are meant for writing papers and conducting research. Don't let a place like this taint them. Mrs. Liu gave a meaningful glance towards the kitchen, then pulled Lu Wei upstairs to bandage her wound. Aunt Lu couldn't help but roll her eyes. I've seen good actors, but never one this good. I just smiled and said nothing. Dinner was ready just as Mr. Liu returned home. As I carried dish after dish to the table, faint beads of sweat dampened my temples. When I raised my hand to wipe them, a blue handkerchief appeared before me. It was Lu Jinyan. I declined. No, thank you. Turned around and casually wiped with a tissue. Lu Jinyan's hand holding the handkerchief paused for a long moment before tucking it back into his pocket. As the dishes were served, the Liu family took their seats one by one while I stood by ladling soup for Mrs. Liu. Li Luo, come sit down and eat with us. Mr. Liu gestured for me to join them. I glanced at Mrs. Liu. She didn't say anything, so I took a seat. I pulled out the birthday gift I'd prepared for Mrs. Liu from my pocket. It's nothing fancy, but it took me 2 months' wages to get this. Happy birthday, Auntie. Mrs. Liu responded indifferently, couldn't even spare me a word. She took the gift and carelessly set it aside. Lu Wei also presented a carefully chosen birthday gift. It was a Patek Philippe wristwatch. Even without knowing much about luxury goods, I could tell this brand easily costs hundreds of thousands, but the Liu family provided Lu Wei with a generous allowance. She could certainly afford it. When Mother Liu saw the watch, her eyes and brows were filled with smiles. Our Weiwei is truly filial. I remained silent, the food in my mouth tasting like sawdust. Old Liu, please pay more attention to Weiwei's matters. During dinner, Liu's mother didn't forget to arrange a future for Lu Wei. Weiwei wants to pursue her postgraduate studies under Han Tan. Today, Jin Yan went to USTC to see Han Tan, but he actually made excuses, saying his junior sister was joining a confidential unit and was currently under review, so it wasn't convenient to receive visitors. Didn't you know his mentor, Zhao Lan, before? Go talk to him. Don't let Weiwei's talent go to waste. Lu's father casually grunted in acknowledgement. Only then did I understand why Lu Jinyan was at USTC. He was there to pull strings for Lu Wei. I couldn't help glancing at Lu Jinyan, only to find him staring right back at me. I quickly averted my gaze and buried myself in my meal, but Lu Jinyan's piercing eyes remained fixed on me, their intensity burning into my cheeks like a branding iron. Suddenly, I'd lost all appetite for this meal. I wanted to escape, but Mrs. Liu wouldn't let me off the hook. Luo, you're graduating soon. Weiwei is destined to become a scientist and serve our country, but you, with your poor grades and no hope for grad school, what are your plans? I set down my chopsticks and dabbed my lips with a napkin. I've already secured a job, starting next month. Mrs. Liu's disdain nearly splattered across my face, but she ultimately maintained her aristocratic composure. Just 3 words, and I was dismissed so lightly. I knew they were trying to prevent me from using the Liu family's connections to pull strings and land myself a good job. After dinner, I helped Aunt Liu wash the dishes and wipe the table, tidying everything up before getting ready to head back to school. Sis, Are you heading back now? Lu Wei came downstairs, freshly showered and dressed in a beautiful nightgown. I responded with a noncommittal grunt. Then go tell your aunt and uncle. They're in the study upstairs, leaning against the railing. Lu Wei smiled slyly, clearly up to something again. I was just going to say hello anyway, couldn't be bothered with her twisted little schemes. The study door was ajar, and I heard Mrs. Lu's voice the moment I approached. That Luoli is graduating soon. You don't think she'll force a marriage right after graduation, do you? I don't care. There's no way Jinyan's marrying her. How could our Lu family possibly accept someone so shamelessly ambitious, a woman who thinks marrying up is her only path to success? Mother Lu's voice trembled with barely suppressed tears. Father Lu kept smoking in silence. My raised hand to knock fell back to my side. Turning around, I nearly collided with someone's chest. Lu Jinyan was staring straight at me. No doubt he'd heard every word, yet his stern face betrayed no extra emotion. With a detached smile, I said, I shouldn't intrude. Please let your parents know I'm heading back to campus. I turned and went downstairs, only to find Lu Wei still leaning against the same spot, her smile even more pronounced. I ignored her and walked straight past. Lu Jinyan followed me down. Let me walk you out. He was about to say something else when Aunt Lu, the housekeeper, happened to fish a velvet box out of the trash bin while cleaning. That was the birthday gift I gave to Lu's mother, 2 months' worth of my salary. Seeing this, Lu Jinyan swallowed the words on the tip of his tongue. Honestly, I'm not upset at all, really. I've grown accustomed to it over the years. Right now I'm just thinking about how to spend that million I just got. Senior Han Tan suggested I take a trip. Since it's rare to have such a long vacation, I don't have any particular destination in mind, but I've made myself a checklist. Visiting an amusement park. I haven't been since my parents passed away. The Lu family often takes Lu Wei. While I always seem to be conveniently forgotten, to try every snack joint in the university town. That was my grand ambition back when I delivered food around there. But I was broke then, so I could only watch others enjoy their fast food, silently drooling. I filled an entire page with this list. In the end, I realized they were all just trivial, insignificant things. I guess I'm just a person of small aspirations and simple joys. That day, as I passed by a bridal shop and saw those gorgeous, pristine gowns, a sudden urge came over me to do something special. I walked into the shop and asked the staff, could you help me take a set of bridal photos? Absolutely, right this way. Just a moment. I dashed out of the bridal shop and headed straight for the jewelry store. I picked out a wedding ring for myself, a simple yet timeless design, though it was part of a matching set. Can I just buy one? The saleswoman gave me a puzzled look, but her good upbringing kept her from saying anything more. Yes, but it will cost a bit more. This ring set me back 30,000 yuan. This is the most extravagant thing I've done in my 21 years of life. This might be my only chance to wear a wedding ring in my entire life, so why not splurge a little? As I stepped out of the bridal shop, I couldn't shake the feeling someone was following me. I turned around, but saw no one there. Ever since that stabbing incident when I was being followed, I've been haunted by this paranoia. Shaking my head, I walked back into the bridal shop. The wedding photos cost 800. But with the designer's meticulous styling, they turned out beautifully. Even I can feel the happiness and joy radiating from these pictures. It's quite lovely to bid farewell to love in this manner. Little did I know, Mr. and Mrs. Lu lost a night's sleep over these wedding photos. Uncle, Auntie, come quick and look at this. Lu Wei rushed into the Lu family residence, finding both Mr. and Mrs. Lu at home that day. She showed everyone the wedding dress photos she'd secretly taken. Is brother Jinyan marrying sister? I just saw sister trying on wedding dresses. Who said Jinyan was going to marry her? Dream on. Mother Lu was absolutely furious. Lu Wei looked surprised, but inwardly, she was thrilled. Father Lu finally started to get anxious. Just then, Lu Jinyan returned from outside and his eyes narrowed slightly when he saw the photo. Send it to me, he said in a cold voice. Lu Wei feigned innocence, looking pitiful. So, my sister was just wishful thinking. I'm so sorry, I had no idea. Brother Jinyan, please don't blame her. My sister was always the pampered one. I suppose she just doesn't want to work hard, dreaming of becoming a wealthy young madam. Can't really blame her. The Lu parents' faces darkened instantly, Mrs. Lu's especially. Lu Jinyan traced the photo on his phone, his expression unreadable. Yet that night, sleep eluded him. A fire seemed to rage in his chest, burning relentlessly, leaving his entire body restless. 3 days later, Lu's mother called, asking me to come home. The moment I stepped in, Aunt Lou gave me a meaningful look, and I returned it with a reassuring smile. I'm not a child anymore. I'm not afraid of her making things difficult for me. Li Luo, you must be 21 this year, right? Just a few more days. You're at that age when people start thinking about marriage. She finally couldn't sit still any longer. Our security guard has a son who just returned from military service. I've met the young man, though he only finished high school. He's quite handsome and seems like a good match for you. Why don't you two meet up sometime? Blatant mockery and humiliation. I smiled faintly. Alright, back in my dorm, I unearthed the little box I'd treasured for years, filled with all my affection for Lu Jinyan. Lighting the brazier, I reduced them all to ashes, then took out my phone and meticulously deleted every photo of him stored in it. Most of these photos were taken discreetly, often capturing his profile. It's finally time to break free from the past. My mind is slowly clearing, leaving an empty space somewhere. But it doesn't hurt. Time truly does heal all wounds. The next day, I went to Lu Jinyan's workplace to see him. I thought I'd have to wait till nightfall again, but within minutes, he came out personally to meet me. He took me to a garden. He walked ahead while I quietly followed behind. The autumn breeze caressed my ears. Yet I felt no chill. In that moment, I found myself surprisingly enjoying the silence. On the garden stone path, a loose slab, long unfixed, tipped when he stepped on one end, sending the other end up to trip my foot. I instinctively stumbled forward, and in my fluster, ended up embracing him from behind. A sudden wave of heat flushed from his ears to his cheeks. I felt his entire body go rigid, his taut muscles hard as steel plates, making my chest ache from the impact. Let go. The furious roar carried a chill straight from the depths of hell. I straightened up quickly. Sorry, that wasn't on purpose. His glare locked onto me, eyes drifting from my face to my chest before snapping away, his expression darkening with visible veins bulging. I wanted to point at the upturned slab, to explain it was the real culprit, but his patience had run out. Spit it out, now. Oh, never mind, let them misunderstand. I don't care, no one believes me anyway. So there's no point in wasting my breath on him. Are you free this weekend? I want to go back to Jiangqing. He stared at me. That's it, yeah, that's it. He turned and left without giving me an answer. Half an hour later, I got a 2-word text. Free now. I'd booked my flight to Riverside City. I usually prefer taking trains, but the ride back would take 5 to 6 hours compared to just 2 by plane. I didn't want to be alone with him for too long, yet even so, he never showed up that day. I waited at the airport for ages. His message finally came through. Long after my flight had departed, Vivi got rejected by USTC and is devastated. We're taking her out to cheer her up. Can't make it back today. Next week. Okay, I'll go to Jiangqing with you then. This was the first time he'd ever sent me such a long message, and this marked his 108th broken promise. The corner of my mouth twitched as I replied, got it, originally. Sending him to Jiangqing was just about making peace before my parents' grave, giving their spirits closure. I turned off my phone and began the solitary journey back home. I brought Mom's favorite flowers and Dad's favorite wine to visit their graves. Today marks their Memorial Day, and also my birthday. I lit birthday candles before their tombstones. Mom, Dad, I'm 21 today. I entered the USTC Young Scholars Program at 15, and now I've landed a great job. I haven't let you down. I'm sorry I didn't bring Lu Jinyan with me. I want you to know I won't be marrying him, but don't worry, without him or the Lu family, I'll only be happier. Made a birthday wish and blew out the candles. I stayed with Mom and Dad until the sun dipped below the horizon. As I walked out of the cemetery, a message popped up on my WeChat moments. Lu Wei was at it again, right on cue, flaunting her happiness. The 9-picture grid showed beautiful beaches, azure waters, the smiling faces of Lu Wei's parents, and Lu Jinyan's tall, slender silhouette. My heart remained unmoved. I turned off my phone, pulled out the SIM card, and tossed it into the trash. That day, I vanished, disappeared completely from Lu Jinyan's world. 3 days later, the Lu family finally returned home. The moment he got back, Lu Jinyan buried himself in work. He never worried I'd forget our agreement. It was always me chasing after him, never him remembering me first. It wasn't until he looked up from his hectic work that something occurred to him. What's today's date? The 26th. Why? Lu Jinyan checked his phone. Nearly 2 weeks had passed since our scheduled meeting. 2 weeks after I disappeared, he finally remembered to text me. Been busy, forgot, tomorrow, I'm free. The same tone as all those broken promises before, without a second thought. He pocketed his phone and went back to work. Only after finishing all his work did he realize I hadn't replied to his message this time. He stared at his phone for a few seconds, looking slightly dazed. He slipped the phone into his pocket, only to pull it out 3 minutes later, still no reply. Finally, he took the initiative to call me. Too bad, no one picked up this time. Lu Jinyan paced back and forth a few times. Back at the Lu family home, for the first time. The family had the rare sight of Lu Jinyan, usually so meticulous he was almost rigid, sitting on the sofa, staring blankly at his phone, waiting for an important call. Lu's mother asked, her voice laced with worry. Lu Jinyan snapped back to attention, his face still stern and indifferent. No, it's nothing important. Lu's mother, looking puzzled, was about to head upstairs when Lu Jinyan suddenly called out to her, Mom, what's special about the 12th, you know, the day we were in Bali? Lumu thought for a moment, but couldn't figure it out. Then Lu Wei suddenly shrieked, the 12th is my sister's birthday, it's all my fault, how could I forget something so important? As she spoke, tears welled up in her eyes. She immediately pulled out her phone, ready to apologize to me. Then that's good. Her phone call went unanswered, and tears began streaming down her face. My sister must hate me now. This is all my fault. Why did I have to go out to clear my head? What's it got to do with you? Mother Lu rolled her eyes impatiently. It's just a birthday. If she wants to throw a tantrum, let her. Lu Jinyan suddenly rose to his feet, glaring at his mother and Lu Wei. Her birthday also marks the death anniversary of Uncle and Aunt Li. Everyone, they can ignore my birthday, but forgetting their savior's Memorial Day entirely, what kind of behavior is that? A rare flicker of guilt crossed Mother Lu's face, just the faintest shadow, nothing more. Lu Jinyan drove aimlessly through the streets. It wasn't until late at night that he finally stopped, staring blankly at the passing cars and crowds. Only then did it dawn on him, after all these years, he'd never known where my school was, my favorite hangouts, or even who my teachers and classmates were. He'd driven Lu Wei to school, malls, cinemas, and amusement parks countless times, yet couldn't recognize the routes I walked daily, scouring through all his memories. He finally stumbled upon a small diner, the very place where I used to deliver takeout. You mean Luo? That was 3 years ago. The owner gave him a look that clearly said, are you out of your mind coming here now? Lu Jinyan grew even more bewildered. He distinctly remembered picking her up last time when she was still delivering food. Had it really been 3 years? Poor kid, orphaned and working her way through school. Without the school's financial aid, she wouldn't even have had meals. That night during the heavy storm, she was the only one still delivering takeout when she got hit and broke her leg. Never saw her again after that. Wonder how she's been all these years. The shopkeeper sighed while pulling down the metal shutters. Lu Jinyan remained rooted to the spot long after he'd left, utterly motionless. The sky suddenly unleashed a torrential downpour, so heavy it blurred vision and obscured the road ahead. He finally pulled out his phone. Mom. Did you know Luo broke her leg 3 years ago? Mrs. Lu snapped impatiently. How would I know? She doesn't even live with us. Who knows what she's been up to? Lu Jinyan stopped listening, so not a single person in the Lu family had known. Then do you know which university she attended? I couldn't care less about those diploma mills. A suffocating anger lodged in Lu Jinyan's chest, rendering him speechless. Old Chin. Run a background check for me, for someone of his standing. Investigating a citizen should have been routine, unless, none. How can there be none? Lu, don't you get it? Do I have to spell it out for you? Her file is top secret. Anyone who tries to access it will be in deep trouble. Lu Jinyan's mind exploded. Brother Jinyan, I finally understand why Professor Han Tan didn't want me. It's all because of my sister. She knows him, and she must have badmouthed me to him out of jealousy. Wah, Brother Jinyan, my sister is just too much. All I did was work harder and be more ambitious than her. Why can't she just be happy for me? Jinyan, get back here now. This isn't over. I swear I'll get to the bottom of this for USTC and all of us. At the Lu residence, Madame Lu snatched the phone and spat venomously. Han Tan's student Su Liangren stood there utterly dumbfounded. Han Tan was swamped, so he'd just been running an errand for his professor. How did things spiral out of control like this? Lu Jinyan arrived just as Han Tan's car pulled up. So this is the Lu residence. Han Tan's eyes held disbelief, laced with scorn and contempt. Li Luo works 3 jobs just to get by. I thought the Lu family had fallen into such poverty that they couldn't even cover their savior's daughter's tuition. You must be her fiancé. Han Tan gave Lu Jinyan a thumbs up. Damn impressive, Mrs. Lu's expression darkened upon hearing Han Tan's sarcastic remark about her son, with tear-stained cheeks. Lu Wei gently tugged at her mother's sleeve. So my sister does know him after all. Han Tan's gaze sliced through the air like a razor. So you're the Lu family's adopted daughter, the orphan the Ling sponsored. Never thought you'd be living the high life with them. How laughable. The Lu family ignores their benefactor's daughter while pampering some unrelated adoptee beyond reason. No need. Madame Lu's face darkened. So this is how Ling Luo slanders our family behind our backs. Han Tan sneered. Slander? Aren't you overestimating yourself a bit? Isn't it obvious to anyone with eyes? From start to finish, junior sister Li never mentioned a single word about the Lu family. In fact, it wasn't until she left and I needed to deliver something to you that I even knew your family name was Lu. I just got curious and did a little digging to see if I should help her take care of you guys, and the result was, Han Tan didn't finish her sentence, her expression growing even more mocking and disdainful. However, Mrs. Lu and Lu Wei accurately caught one particular address, junior sister. In that instant, they felt as if they'd been struck by lightning. You call her junior sister Luo Luo? What kind of junior sister is that? Han Tan sneered coldly, couldn't be bothered with Madame Lu. He took the case Su Liang brought over and opened it, neat stacks of 1 million yuan inside. This million, half is junior sister Lu's repayment for the Lu family's adoption, the other half is for Nanny Lu's retirement. Mrs. Lu's face went even paler. Han Tan didn't even glance at her, instead looking for Nanny Lu. Nanny Lu, the housekeeper, ran out, watching everything unfold in disbelief. Han Tan stepped forward and warmly clasped her hand. Thank you for looking after junior sister Li all these years. She mentioned you're getting on in years with rheumatism acting up, so it's time you retired properly. This 500,000 is her way of showing filial respect for your retirement. Aunt Lu's eyes reddened instantly. That child. Madame Lu felt like she was losing her mind. What exactly do you mean? What, junior sister Li? Aren't you a professor at USTC? Didn't Luo Luo attend some diploma mill? Han Tan tossed down the remaining cash and turned to leave with Su Liang. Lu Jinyan blocked his path, eyes sharp as daggers piercing through Han Tan's gaze. You know where she is, don't you? I need to see her. Han Tan sized him up with a cold laugh. See her? What makes you think you're worthy? No mockery, no resentment, just stating the facts. Lu Jinyan knew he no longer even had the right to know where I was, but he refused to give up, tracking Han Tan to USTC and even locating Professor Zhao. Han Tan's tendency to shield his own was a mentorship legacy. So you're Xiao Lilua's fiancé, how dare you even show your face here? On your birthday, she worked non-stop in the lab for half a month, without a single full night's sleep. Even then, she still made sure to bake you a cake herself. And what happened? Not only did you not show up, but she waited until late at night, only to be stabbed by someone with ill intentions. You were right there, yet you wouldn't answer your phone. If I hadn't been worried and gone to check on her, finding her just in time, she might have bled to death. Since your Lu family despises her so much, why even bother asking? You should go back and take good care of your ungrateful sister. Our Lilua doesn't care to associate with people like you. Lu Jinyan had been in low spirits for a long time. He kept rereading the WeChat messages I'd sent him, until finally pulling out that wedding dress photo Lu Wei had secretly taken that day. He went to the jewelry store and found the remaining half of that pair of rings. Sir, you've done us a huge favor. These rings are always sold as a set, but that young lady only wanted one. This leftover piece has been hanging here forever with no takers. A glimmer of hope flashed in Lu Jinyan's eyes as he produced my photo. Is this her? Absolutely. We'll give you a discount if you're taking this ring. Clutching the ring tightly, Lu Jinyan paid the full amount without hesitation. Back at the Lu residence, housekeeper Granny Lu was packing her belongings, having decided to retire that very day. As the month drew to a close, Mr. Lu, do you still need these things? Lu Jinyan looked over. They were all Luo Li's belongings. He glanced at the maid's room again. This was where she stayed during her time with the Lu family. Half question, half statement. Lu Wei hurried downstairs. Brother Jinyan, you're finally back. Auntie found me a new school. If I can't get into USTC, I can still do research elsewhere. She was wearing a pristine white princess dress, her voluminous curly hair looking both stylish and beautiful. Lu Jinyan suddenly remembered that the suite Lu Wei was staying in was 40 square meters and lavishly decorated. Turning to look at the maid's room, he suddenly asked, is there only one bed? Aunt Lu nodded blankly. Yes, when Luo was here, She always insisted on sleeping on the floor to spare my bad back. Caught a terrible chill from it once, ran such a high fever, though I hear her dorm at school is quite nice now, with her own proper bed and thick, warm quilts. Lu Jinyan stopped listening, slumping onto the sofa in defeat. He sat there motionless, utterly silent. Jinyan, perfect timing. Tomorrow you'll take Weiwei to register at the Military Research Institute. This placement has real prospects. But it's okay. Lu Jinyan looked up, a sudden sense of bewilderment washing over him. Mom. Li Luo is the biological daughter of our family's benefactor. Mother Lu was speechless. For the first time, her son had put her in such an awkward position. Lu Jinyan couldn't stand watching two women weep in front of him, so he left home again within 10 minutes of returning. A man stood at the villa's entrance. Excuse me, is Li Luo here? The visitor was tall and stood ramrod straight. One glance told him this was a military man. What business do you have with her? His eyes brimmed with wariness. The man produced a bouquet from behind his back. 20 days ago, Mrs. Lu asked me to meet Luo Luo for a matchmaking session. I was out of town and only just returned. Lu Jinyan still remembered. 20 days ago was the day I went to see him. But that day, I said nothing at all. My heart suddenly clenched as if seized by an invisible hand. He covered his face with his hands. Am I really that untrustworthy to her, sir? Lu Jinyan looked up. His gaze fixed on the man in front of him. Li Luo is already engaged. Please leave. Lu's mother rushed out, just in time to hear that. Jinyan, have you lost your mind? She's already dedicated herself to the country. She might never come back in this lifetime. Lu Jinyan turned to look at his mother, suddenly feeling utterly helpless. It's okay, I'll wait for her. Those 3 words brought tears to Mother Lu's eyes. Didn't you say you disliked her? What's gotten into you now? When did I ever say I disliked her? Then why? I just don't like how she uses me as a social ladder, how she clings to me for wealth and status, how she's utterly unambitious and pins all her hopes on men, how, the way she looked at me was pure seduction. I'm afraid I might lose control. Lu Jinyan covered his face, unable to continue speaking. I met Lu Jinyan again a decade later. When I went abroad for an academic conference, he was assigned as my security detail, now in my early 30s. Seeing him again finally leaves me completely unfazed. Time truly heals all wounds, no matter how passionate the love once was. Comrade Lu, your efforts are much appreciated this time. I extended my hand with composure. He stared at me, his eyes turbulent as if a storm raged within. But then, just as quickly, they settled back into calm. He took my hand and said, "The pleasure is all mine." The seminar went smoothly, but on my way back, I was ambushed. Even with all the diversions they created for me, the car I was in still got overturned. Lu Jinyan took 2 bullets for me and was rushed to the hospital. After 10 hours of emergency surgery, the doctors finally pulled him back from the brink of death. The breath I'd been holding in my chest finally escaped. Thank you. His gaze burned into me, intense and unwavering. For you, I'd give everything, even my life. This might be his first confession to me, if you could even call it that. I froze for a heartbeat, then broke into a smile. That's because I'm valuable. If I were just an ordinary housewife, would you still do this? Of course I would. No, you wouldn't. I cut him off firmly. Lu Jinyan stared at me blankly, confused and hurt. I chuckled. You really wouldn't understand. I've been through it. In my past life, I dreamed of being his wife, living quietly, tending to home and family. That was my greatest happiness. Back then, with her family's backing, Lu Wei became a research heavyweight, not reaching my current achievements, but still under state protection. That time, we were ambushed at sea. Lu Jinyan fought desperately to protect her, while I was abandoned without a second thought. They took me hostage, demanding he bring Lu Wei out, but they remained unmoved. In the end, they sliced my flesh piece by piece to feed the fish, and hacked my leg bones to feed the dogs. He never showed up again until the day I died. He managed to escape with Lu Wei. That was his duty. Even if I wanted to resent him, it would seem completely unreasonable. In this life, I've learned my lesson. As long as I don't fall in love, I'll be fine. After returning home, I personally delivered the wedding invitation to him. He accepted it, he said during his recovery. He dreamed every day of me dropping out to marry him, of me washing his clothes and cooking meals while waiting alone till midnight, of the thoughtful gifts I prepared that he never had time to appreciate, of him missing every special occasion, and even of me perishing in the ocean's depths. Tears glistened in his eyes as he spoke, as if searching for some confirmation from me. I just smiled. Come to the wedding if you're free that day. No worries if you can't make it. I'm no longer the girl who'd wait for him, nor do I expect anything from him now. The maple leaves were blazing red that day. This time, it was finally me who walked away first, leaving him standing there. But why? Does my heart still ache? Lu Wei spent a decade at the Military Research Institute without achieving any notable results. With my shining example before her, she eventually succumbed to temptation, plagiarizing colleagues' research to advance her own reputation. Even attempting to leverage the Lu family's influence to silence dissent. When exposed, the Lu family was utterly disillusioned and ultimately cut ties with her. "I've found you an office job. From now on, just go to work diligently and be an ordinary person. There's nothing wrong with that." This was Father Lu's final decision. Mother Lu also felt disgraced by the spread of such a scandal. Li Luo became a nationally protected scientist relying solely on herself, without any support. How many resources did our Lu family invest in you? How many connections did we leverage? How could you be so unaccomplished? That day, Lu Wei got Lu Jinyan drunk right after he received my wedding invitation. Seizing the opportunity, she clung to Lu Jinyan. "Brother Jinyan, won't you marry me? I've liked you for so long." The woman who kept saying I didn't want to work hard and just wanted to climb the social ladder through men ended up not wanting to work hard either. Lu Jinyan shoved her away without hesitation. Years of training had built formidable muscle strength. Lu Wei suffered 2 broken bones on the spot. Only then did Mr. and Mrs. Lu finally see their daughter's true colors. Yet the Lu family preserved some dignity for her. After recovery, they secured her a job, made her move out, and stripped her of the Lu surname. Lu Wei reverted to being Chi Wei. My husband and I shared 30 years of loving marriage. He worked himself to an early grave. Passing before me, we had no children, dedicating our entire lives to scientific research. Over the years, Lu Jinyan sacrificed his own career advancement to protect our life's work. Before he passed, my husband took my hand and finally spoke the words he had kept hidden in his heart for 30 years. "Luoli, forgive him, he waited for you his entire life." Beyond the floor-to-ceiling window, Lu Jinyan's hair had turned snow white, yet he stood as straight and proud as in his youth. A maple leaf settled on his shoulder. Another autumn had come. No need. Story 2. I entered a business marriage with the Crown Prince of Beijing's elite circle, but he fell in love with a poor college student, willing to break ties with his family just to be with her. I advised the Crown Prince that he could first marry to gain control of the company and then divorce. Unexpectedly, upon learning this news, the college student left a suicide note and jumped to her death. The Crown Prince grew to despise me intensely for this. After marrying me, he subjected me to daily humiliation until I was ultimately tortured to death in the basement. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day of my engagement with Su Tingshan. I didn't stop him this time, but instead chose to support him. "Go bravely pursue your love," happily holding the female college student's hand. He stepped onto the stage and excitedly announced breaking off our engagement to marry her. In his moment of triumph, he completely failed to notice the way my father and his grandfather were looking at him, their gazes as cold as death. His stepmother laughed so hard she was shaking like a flower in the wind. 1. Today is the day of my business marriage alliance with Su Tingshan, $1 million wedding with a seaside banquet, romantic and beautiful. He's the crown prince of the Beijing elite circle, and I'm the little princess of the same circle. Both families are immensely wealthy with deep connections, a union of titans, and all the top figures in the circle have attended. We had already privately agreed to a 3-year contractual marriage, with divorce upon expiration. Just a moment ago, he bent down gently to adjust my wedding dress, then knelt on one knee to profess his love with deep affection. "Jiaran, you're not just my destined partner, but also my confidant and benefactor in career, no matter what the future holds. I will keep my promise to cherish you forever." I deserve his words. When the Su family was on the brink of collapse during the financial crisis, it was I who showed him the way forward, and my investment that helped them overcome the crisis. For women navigating the business world, love is merely a pastime for us, not a necessity. It's the expansion of our career territories that truly excites and delights us. Yet the next moment, he killed me over a poor female student he'd known for less than 3 years, and swallowed up the business empire I'd built with my own hands. I could overlook him killing me for a woman, but I absolutely cannot forgive him for using dishonorable means to swallow up my conglomerate. You can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. A worthless scum like him isn't even fit to polish my shoes in this lifetime, must die. Before death, he must repay tenfold for the sins committed in his past life. 2. This time, when Su Tingshan knelt on one knee to confess his love, the impoverished student appeared again in her cheap wedding dress. A rather plain face and a malnourished figure instantly captured Su Tingshan's full attention. Tingshan, I know I'm not beautiful and my family background isn't illustrious, but I have a heart full of love for you. Will you marry me? The impoverished student's eyes were brimming with tears, her makeup smudged, looking not only unattractive but somewhat ridiculous. The guests below the stage began whispering among themselves. Su Tingshan's eyes instantly turned red, moved to the point of welling up with tears. In my past life, I stopped him because I knew how hard his journey had been. Aware that his family included an unfathomably powerful elder brother and a much beloved younger brother, leaving him in an extremely awkward position, that's why I advised him, let's finish the wedding ceremony first, then I'll go with you afterward to explain, otherwise, you won't be able to justify it to your family. For the sake of power and status, he chose to listen to me, but in the end, he blamed all the responsibility on me. The more incompetent a man is, the more he likes to shift blame. This time I smiled slightly. Go bravely pursue your love, Su Tingshan said emotionally. Xiaoran, thank you. After speaking, he jumped off the stage and embraced the financially struggling student, sharing a passionate kiss before everyone. The banquet hall divided into two distinct groups, one being the still innocent children who cheered and applauded this courageous scene. Then there are the real power-holding bosses like his grandfather and my father, whose faces turned utterly grim. If they had juniors who pulled such outrageous stunts on the day of an arranged marriage, they'd have the urge to beat them to death on the spot. Of course, there's also Su Tingshan's stepmother, laughing so wildly without restraint, clearly someone about to reap the benefits. After the passionate kiss, Su Tingshan seemed infected by the fervent atmosphere around them and led the scholarship student onto the stage, holding the microphone and announcing loudly, I now officially declare the cancellation of my wedding with Song Xiaoran, and will hold the wedding with my true love, Zhou Qianqian. After speaking, he knelt on one knee, holding a 6-carat wedding ring, his voice choked with emotion. Qianqian, how could we let a girl do the proposing? Zhou Qianqian, I love you, will you marry me? I swear I'll never let you suffer or cry again. I'll make sure you never regret today's courage for the rest of your life. The impoverished student couldn't wait to put on the ring, shouting excitedly, I do. Zhou Qianqian agrees to marry Su Tingshan. Then the couple eagerly embraced each other again, sharing a passionate kiss. Su Tingshan's grandfather was so furious he stormed onto the stage with his cane to beat Su Tingshan, cursing, you disgrace, utterly shameless rascal. Dad was so furious he stormed onto the stage to punch him. But I just winked at the guy and casually fingered my $6 million pink diamond necklace. His brow furrowed briefly before relaxing, then he gave me a slight nod. I smiled in satisfaction. Having learned the ropes of business from my father since childhood, I was beyond words. Even if Su Tingshan doesn't call off the engagement, I'll find a way to end it myself. He won't get to profit a single cent by writing on my name, but since he was the one who called off the engagement, it's only natural I should get some benefits. 3. After Su Tingshan and Zhou Qianqian finished their passionate kiss, they signaled the MC to continue the ceremony. All present here are my uncles and elders. Please continue to witness Qianqian and I's wedding ceremony. I paid for half this wedding, and half the guests came because of me. He sure knows how to claim others' credit as his own. I nodded slightly at my father, who immediately roared angrily, Su Tingshan, today is supposed to be your wedding day with my precious daughter. You call off the engagement at the last minute and can't wait to marry another woman. Are you taking advantage of my daughter's gentle nature, or do you think our Song family has no one to stand up for her? A flash of surprise crossed Su Tingshan's eyes as he realized that while I had agreed, my family certainly hadn't. He immediately turned to me, Xiaoran, you. I casually removed the bothersome veil and threw it on the ground, then bent down to tear the long skirt into a short one. Finally feeling completely relaxed, said with graceful composure, Su Tingshan, pursuing love isn't wrong, but why didn't you pursue it earlier? How much effort has been poured into this wedding by so many people? The uncles, aunts, and elders present here have all taken time out of their busy schedules to attend. How can you be so willful and let everyone down? I wish you and Miss Zhou Qianqian a happy union lasting 100 years, with children coming soon. However, the wedding cost 20 million. Please remember to transfer it to my company's account. Su Tingshan quickly nodded. Okay, no problem. The father below added, You need to return the 10% shares our family gave you during the engagement, and terminate the contracts for several projects that were meant to facilitate the marriage. The 2.3 billion villa complex we jointly invested in will count as compensation for my daughter. Altogether it amounts to about 10 small targets, which can be considered sky-high compensation fees. Su Tingshan's face turned pale as he looked at me again. Xiaoran, this is too much. I've given you quite a bit too, shouldn't you return some? Dad snorted coldly. Too much? Is it too much that my daughter was publicly humiliated by you like this, then in the future? Before the warning could be fully spoken, old Master Su immediately agreed. This is only right. My grandson is useless. The original betrothal gifts shall count as compensation for the young lady. She suffered injustice today because I, as his grandfather, failed to teach him properly. This pretty much restored both my dignity and reputation. I can't go too far either. After all, old Master Su has been quite good to me. I smiled faintly. Grandpa, although Tingshan and I weren't meant to be. You'll always be my grandpa. Old Master Su looked at me with complex emotions. Good child. After speaking, he turned and left with trembling steps. His departure took with him some of the Su family's guests. My father held my hand and turned to leave, taking all the guests of our Song family with him. What was once a lively wedding banquet now had more staff than remaining guests, all of whom were his company's employees. Su Tingshan is nothing without me. 4. At the wedding banquet entrance, my father and I invited all our Song family's guests and VIPs to dine at the private kitchen across the street. At the dinner table, I toasted each guest one by one, offering apologies and presenting them with expensive gifts. Everyone left with smiles on their faces. They even praised my father. You've raised quite a daughter, so decisive and capable at such a young age, with both the means and the temperament. She'll likely surpass even your achievements someday. The Su family's child really doesn't know how to conduct themselves properly. It's hard to believe someone as formidable as old Master Su could have such a grandson. We've watched Xiaoran grow up since she was a child. If you ever face any injustice in the future, your uncles will stand up for you. Today's battle was fought exceptionally well by me, giving me a perfectly justifiable reason to deal with the Su family in the future. Upon returning home, the compensation payment and transfer documents from the Su family had already been delivered. Old Master Su is indeed an efficient man. The reason I initially helped the Su family was entirely out of respect for him, a once dominant figure in the business world. It's a pity he was too busy with work to properly raise outstanding sons, and with his grandson still young, the family gradually declined. Mother said with heartache, "My dear Ranran, are you feeling very sad?" Father looked at my money-grubbing expression and chuckled lightly. What's she sad about? She almost laughed out loud during dinner. The one who should be sad is Su Tingshan. Today's concessions cost him quite a fortune, and he's become the laughingstock of the circle again. His position as heir is looking rather shaky. I gave a thumbs up. Dad, you really get me. What's so great about men, making money, and building a career are far more important. Mother was amused by us. Seems I was worrying for nothing. Before I could even take action against Su Tingshan, his company's stocks began to plummet, and major newspapers were headlining the news. Probably not wanting to offend our Song family, the newspapers lavished praise on me, from my education and experience to my abilities, looks, and wealth, claiming I was top tier in everything, even in handling relationships with grace. As for Su Tingshan, he was portrayed as love-struck, foolish, and indecisive, with all his past failed decisions laid bare, emphasizing how ordinary he truly was. Even Zhou Qianqian's dirty laundry was aired out, with the language being particularly scathing. Nothing about her could even barely pass muster. The conclusion is that a wild boar can't appreciate fine grains. Su Tingshan knew he was out of his league with me, so he shamefully found someone of his own standing. This person must have worked in Hong Kong media before. They've got some real skills. Just as I was happily reading the newspaper, Su Tingshan called, his voice filled with exhaustion and anger. Song Xiaoran, was it you who tampered with the newspaper and the stocks? I sneered. Su Tingshan, I'm still counting your compensation money right now. When would I have time to deal with you? He angrily retorted. If it's not you, then who could it be? I've already compensated you with so much money and projects. Even if the marriage matter wronged you, we're even now. Don't be insatiably greedy. I curled my lips in a cold smile. Out of kindness for all that compensation money, let me remind you, your stepmother is no pushover. After saying that, I hung up. He used to be quite clever, but ever since falling in love, he's lost all sense of judgment and become particularly foolish. Emotions can really make people act foolish, that's a proven fact. 5. The stocks of Su Corporation stabilized quickly, and Su Tingshan even made the cover of the Economic Times. Filled with praises for him, wanted to clear the wild boar nickname he was given earlier, but it was too late. The moniker had already become popular in the circle. I even changed his contact name to Wild Boar. To have this matter resolved so swiftly and decisively, it must have been old Master Su's doing. It seems the old man hasn't given up on him yet. Indeed, Su Tingshan is fortunate. His mother was the daughter of old Master Su's comrade-in-arms. That's why old Master Su has been supporting him all along. But the Su family is large, and old Master Su is getting on in years. He won't last much longer. When he passes away, that will be the day I reap the Su group. At the new energy banquet, I encountered Su Tingshan and Zhou Cece. Su Tingshan had gained a few more wrinkles between his brows, and his once sharp eyes now appeared somewhat clouded. It seemed life in the Su family hadn't been kind to him lately. Zhou Cece wore a well-tailored Chanel gown, with shoulder-length wavy hair and exquisite makeup that enhanced her appearance considerably. At least she no longer looked like someone embarrassingly out of place. After just a glance, I paid them no further attention. Securing more projects was my real purpose for being here. Of course, there's one most important goal: to secure Su Tingshan's new energy vehicle project from his past life. It was precisely this project that earned him state support, ultimately allowing him to surpass others and become the industry leader. After successfully negotiating several warm-up projects, I went to the restroom to touch up my makeup, ready to secure the biggest deal. Song Jiaran, even if you're this beautiful, so what? Tingshan will never like you, just give up already. Zhou Qianqian stood smugly behind me, watching as I applied lipstick, then sneered. Brother Tingshan hates this color the most. Almost all the women here are wearing dresses. Elegant and graceful, yet you deliberately stand out by wearing culottes. Do you think you're so special? Let me tell you, men love women in dresses the most, especially with lace. It's even more feminine. After speaking, she spun around as if to show off, the lace under her skirt catching the light even more conspicuously. After finishing my makeup, I slowly turned to look at her and smiled faintly. I dress beautifully to please myself, not to attract any man. What does it matter whether he likes my lipstick shade or not? I'm not a product to be picked over by anyone. Most women attending this banquet don't have the freedom to dress as they wish. But I'm different. I have the capability and means to choose clothing styles I genuinely like. I hope the dress you're wearing is one you love and actively chose, not one that was chosen for you. Female competition is my least favorite concept, and what I dislike even more is women competing for male attention. A woman's journey can be a career path, scientific research, education, or even the vast cosmos, but it should never be defined by a man. In my view, this kind of woman has too narrow a perspective. We're simply not from the same world, and it's not worth wasting words. 6. Just as I was enthusiastically discussing a project with a renewable energy tycoon, Su Tingshan dragged Zhou Qianqian, her eyes red from crying, to confront me. Song Jiaran, did you bully Qianqian? Why was she crying after talking to you? I looked at the big shot apologetically. Sorry Mr. Liu, I seem to have a minor issue here. Could you wait for 3 minutes? The new energy tycoon smiled and nodded. No problem. Take your time. Only then did I turn to Su Tingshan and say, did you ask Miss Zhou Qianqian for the reason? Accusing me right away would be quite impolite. Provoked by my words, Su Tingshan flew into a rage directly. I have no manners. Look who's talking. You're the one without manners. Yes, I admit you're strong in education, family background, and abilities, but that doesn't cover up the fact that you're selfish, cold, and look down on others. Character comes before work, and virtue comes before character. Mr. Liu, you'd better not cooperate with her. She has serious character flaws. His last words were spoken loudly, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. A glint of triumph flashed in Su Tingshan's eyes. He intended to muddy my partnership with Boss Liu using this dirty trick, then take his place. I merely smiled faintly, my gaze settling on Zhou Qianqian. Can you repeat what I just told you? Zhou Qianqian bit her lip and remained silent. So I asked again. Did anyone in the restroom hear my conversation with this lady 10 minutes ago? I remember there seemed to be a beautiful lady in a purple dress also touching up her makeup nearby. The lady in the purple dress raised her hand excitedly and came forward, saying cheerfully, I heard it. It was the first time I've heard such morally upright words, and I remember it vividly. At that time, Miss Song was touching up her makeup when Miss Zhou went over to provoke her, saying that even though Miss Song is beautiful, Su Tingshan would never like her. He even said Mr. Su didn't like Miss Song's lipstick color, and that she wore culottes just to stand out and be unique, claiming men prefer women in lace dresses. Despite the harsh words, Miss Song showed remarkable composure and didn't get angry. Instead, she responded that women dress beautifully to please themselves, not as commodities for others' judgment. She added that most women wearing skirts here lacked clothing freedom, while she had the ability and means to achieve it. She also expressed hope that Miss Zhou wore skirts out of personal preference, not obligation. Her words instantly won thunderous applause from the audience. The little girl's face instantly turned red, and she said somewhat shyly, "These are all Sister Song's words." Of course she phrased it more beautifully. "I just expressed the meaning as I understood it, Sister Song. You're truly amazing. I want to become as outstanding as you in the future, so I won't be anyone's accessory." I smiled and said, "I believe you'll surpass me. Keep it up." When young girls truly awaken to independent thinking, the world will become increasingly wonderful. The little girl happily skipped away, off to show off to her friends. 7. Trying to steal a chicken only to lose the rice. Su Tingshan's face burned crimson with shame as he immediately began shifting the blame onto Zhou Qianqian. "Why didn't you explain clearly? I thought she was bullying you." Zhou Qianqian's tears fell in large drops as she sobbed softly. "I'm sorry, Before she could finish speaking, Su Tingshan cut her off sharply. "What else can you do besides cry? Stop crying." With a somewhat harsh tone and not the best attitude. "Is this what he vowed a month ago? To love her for a lifetime, never letting her suffer or shed tears? Ha! A man's words aren't even trusted by dogs." After the humiliating scene, Su Tingshan couldn't bear to stay any longer and tried to leave with Zhou Qianqian. I called out to stop him. "Su Tingshan, you forgot something," he asked in confusion. "What's the matter, Mr. Lu?" smiled and said, "You just slandered Miss Song. Shouldn't you apologize?" Su Tingshan suppressed his anger and reluctantly said, "Sorry, I acted impulsively just now." I smiled slightly and said magnanimously, "It's alright. Just be more careful next time." He couldn't stay another second and turned to leave, while Zhou Qianqian picked up her skirt and trotted after him. The people around burst into laughter. Today, Su Tingshan had once again become the laughingstock of their circle. Thanks to his divine assist, I smoothly secured Boss Lu's project and even reaped a batch of olive branches thrown by female heirs, with invitations to discuss tea and profits later. Who says women together can only talk about clothes, skirts, and cosmetics? As long as we are willing, our journey can also be the stars and the sea. Someone posted these banquet remarks online, and they instantly went viral. My company's account gained over 500,000 followers in a single day, and the stock price soared to unprecedented levels, rising every minute. In today's world where traffic is king, I caught this wave of immense fortune and started selling products through online channels. First day sales exceeded 100 million directly, becoming another legend. Just as I was busy setting up a new production line, I received another call from Su Tingshan. This time, the attitude was clearly much better. "Zhaoran, I heard your livestream's first day sales exceeded 100 million. Congratulations." I chuckled lightly. The enthusiasm of netizens really took me by surprise. "But it's just the novelty of the first few days. Things will return to normal soon," he said with an apologetic smile. "But what you've earned these past few days already exceeds what small listed companies make in a year." "Playing with the Rolex my father just rewarded me." I smiled brightly. "Not bad. What did you want to see me about?" He cleared his throat softly. "The fact that you can make money so smoothly from live streaming is partly thanks to me, right? I don't have any other demands. Just hand over the new energy vehicle project with Boss Lu to me." Ever since our engagement was called off, my family has been giving me a hard time. I originally wanted to take on this project to prove myself and make them see me in a new light, but you snatched it away again. Now, I'm struggling at home. I scoffed. "So you're saying I should thank you for smearing my reputation at the banquet, is that it?" He choked up. "Why are you being so harsh now? Didn't we used to exchange projects commercially before?" I shot back. "You said it yourself, that was before, and even then it was barely an equal exchange. What? Are you trying to get something for nothing now?" He angrily retorted. "Do you have to be so calculative? You're not short of money. What's the problem with giving me the project? Besides, half the reason I'm in this difficult situation is because of you. You have to take responsibility." I was amused by this shameless remark. I knew he was incompetent, but I never expected him to be this brazen. Su Tingshan, you're not cut out for the business world, you'd be better off playing house. Su Tingshan roared in fury. Song Jiaoran, don't think you're something special just because you've completed a few projects now. I'll make you regret this. I do regret it, not hanging up on him sooner. What a jinx. 8. Su Tingshan's current situation is even worse than he described. He had missed several important banquets, with his younger brother Su Lui attending instead, though young. Su Lui was eloquent and quickly became familiar with everyone at the events. When others spoke ill of his elder brother, he was the quickest to chime in. I scoffed. The sight of these dogs biting each other was quite entertaining. Su Lui came to toast me, his expression respectful with a hint of flattery. Sister Song, my mom said if I ever see you, I must try to please you. I chuckled lightly. Why? He eagerly replied. My mom wants me to pursue you, saying if we get married, both the Song and Su families would fall into our hands. It's faster than winning the lottery. I curled my lips in a cold smile. And what do you think about that? A look of disdain flashed in his eyes. My mother used to be a tea restaurant waitress. Her greatest skill was seducing men. She knew nothing else. If I really married you, forget about the Song family. Even the Su family would be handed to you on a platter. I know my own worth clearly enough, elder sister Song. I know what you're trying to do. I can help you, but you'll have to pay me. His eyes gleamed unmistakably with a desire for money. This type of person knows exactly what they want and clearly understands the situation they're in. He's a clever man. I smiled and clinked glasses with him. The price I pay will match the sincerity you show. His eyes lit up. Deal. After finalizing the collaboration, he started taking pleasure in Su Tingshan and Zhou Qianqian's misfortune. Sister Song, do you know how Zhou Qianqian entered our family? She signed a prenuptial agreement. If they divorce, she won't get a single cent. My brother used to treat her decently, but after his career was suppressed by you and his projects were snatched away, he blamed everything on Zhou Qianqian. He often berated her, saying such awful things even a scumbag like me couldn't stand it. Once, when he was drunk, he even kicked her out. It was pouring rain outside, and no matter how much we urged Zhou Qianqian to come back in, she refused, until Grandpa forced my brother to call her inside. Only then did she dare to return. It was truly outrageous. I used to feel sorry for her, but later realized she was just reaping what she sowed. I smiled non-committally. Many women face this issue, yet they don't see it as a problem. The day will come when more and more women rise up, and they will finally understand that women are not men's appendages. That day is not too far away. 9. The moment the conceptual model of the new energy vehicle was unveiled, it shocked the entire automotive industry. Major business tycoons came knocking one after another, eager to invest. The company's stock has hit the upper limit for 7 consecutive days, with the government also joining the investment and international media outlets scrambling to report on it. For a time, our Song group was the undisputed center of attention. Su Tingshan encountered continuous setbacks, with all the hard-won projects ending in losses, each one worse than the last. Instead of looking for internal reasons, that fool actually went to worship Buddha and hired a feng shui master. When Su Lui called me, he nearly laughed himself to tears. Sister Song, don't you think my brother is truly foolish? Between striving for progress and being attentive, he chose to burn incense. He even specifically had a monk check Zhou Cici's birth chart, asking if it clashed with his own. The feng shui master said the ancestral grave's location was problematic, so he told his grandfather they needed to move it, which gave Grandpa such high blood pressure he nearly ended up in the emergency room. I couldn't help laughing too. He was even more ridiculous than I'd imagined. Anyone with eyes could see there were internal issues, but his reputation has sunk so low that industry leaders won't work with him, and the elders around him have all lost hope, so no one's giving him guidance. He completely messed up a good hand of cards. After the playful banter, Su Lu finally got down to business. Sister Song, would you agree to trade 5% of Song Group's shares for my 20% stake in Su Corporation? I chuckled lightly. The price you're offering now seems a bit high. You're at a disadvantage here, he said proudly. It's worth it. This is the money I've saved for retirement. As long as you manage the Song Group for a day, I'm guaranteed steady returns. You have no idea how fiercely people are scrambling to buy your group stocks out there. Prices change every minute, impossible to get any. The uncles in the circle all told me, follow you, and there's soup to drink. While this statement may be slightly exaggerated, it's not far from the truth. Since I took over the group, I shifted from my father's stability-focused approach to rapid expansion. The conservative faction on the board initially opposed me, thinking I was too radical, but now the conservatives think I'm being too cautious and that we could be even more aggressive. 10. A few days later, I received a short video from Su Lui. In the video, Su Tingshan was berating Zhou Qianqian. Ever since I got together with you, nothing has gone right for me. It must be because your horoscope clashes with mine. Let's get divorced. I'll give you a small house in the suburbs as compensation. Zhou Qianqian cried pitifully, kneeling on the ground. I don't want to divorce you. I love you. I'll do anything you ask, just don't divorce me, Su Tingshan said with disgust. Are you unhappy with the small house I'm offering? Take a look in the mirror and see what you're worth. If you were someone like Song Jiaran, I could give you billions. For someone like you, even a house worth a few $100,000 is too much. Zhou Qianqian shook her head desperately. I don't want your house. Nor your money, I just want to be with you. When you proposed to me before, you said you'd be good to me for a lifetime. You can't break your promise. If I lose you, my life would be meaningless. I truly love you so much. Su Tingshan kicked her away and even tried to hit her. Old man Su appeared in a wheelchair, shouting angrily, you beast, stop right there, cough. Then came the panicked voices of everyone, old master. Then the video went black and stopped at this point. Soon after, I received a call from my father, telling me to go to the private hospital immediately. Old man Su was critically ill and kept murmuring my name, although I had already seen Grandpa Su looking frail and haggard in the video. My heart still ached when I saw him lying weakly on the hospital bed. I grew up listening to his legendary stories, watching him build towering heights, only to see them crumble. Grandpa Su, with an oxygen tube in his nose, gently grasped my hand and spoke weakly, child, Grandpa has a favor to ask of you. With a complicated expression, I said, Grandpa, go ahead. Grandpa Su gasped for breath for a long time before saying, help the Su group, take a look. This was asking me to go easy on the Su group. I reassured him, Grandpa, only when a drop of water truly enters the sea will it never disappear. Grandpa Su was stunned for a long moment before finally understanding, saying with a sense of loss, this old man is indeed getting old, the lass is right. After saying these words, he slowly closed his eyes and passed away peacefully. Instantly, the hospital room was filled with kneeling filial descendants. Su Tingshan, now sober, had bloodshot eyes and was crying the most intensely, Grandpa, please don't go, it's your grandson's unfilial fault. As soon as he finished speaking, Uncle Su stepped forward and kicked him to the ground, saying fiercely, how dare you say that? If it weren't for you, Dad wouldn't have died so early. Grandpa always loved you the most since childhood and placed high hopes on you. You kept saying you would inherit the company, make Grandpa's business bigger and stronger, and even surpass him. But now, under your leadership, the group is deteriorating day by day, about to be delisted from the stock market, you bastard. While saying this, he started hitting him, even pulling out the belt from his waist and giving him a good beating. Except for Zhou Cixi, everyone else had a look of enjoying the show, thinking he deserved to be beaten to death. Su Lui even came up to me, gloating and said, Sister Song, is it lively here? That time when my brother said he was breaking off the engagement with you, my dad got so drunk that night he almost beat him to death, calling him an idiot for spitting out the feast the heavens had served to his lips. He also said the Su family would never rise again, and once Grandpa passes, it'll be game over. 11. On the day of Grandpa Su's funeral, all the prominent figures from Beijing's elite circles attended, marking the final glory of the Su family. After the funeral, I prepared to leave with my parents. Su Tingshan stopped me. Jiaran, I have something to tell you. I nodded. Say it here if you have something to say. He looked troubled. Let's go aside. There are too many people here. I raised an eyebrow. I'm in a hurry. If you won't talk, forget it. A flash of determination crossed his eyes as he immediately knelt down before all the mourners. Everyone turned to look in unison, their faces wearing mocking smirks and sneers. Once hailed as the crown prince of their social circle, the object of countless admirations, now his face was bruised, his expression haggard, with the nearly bankrupt Su group making him the laughingstock of the moment. Jiaran, breaking off our engagement back then was a moment of madness for me. I know I was wrong now. Please give me another chance. I glanced at the frail and pale Zhou Cixi standing beside me. What about her? Zhou Cixi, you once said she was your true love, that you'd never let her down in this lifetime. A look of disgust flashed in Su Tingshan's eyes. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have ended up like this. I regret it every single day. The once white moonlight has now become a cinnabar mole. Oh, wait, No, it's mosquito blood, I smiled faintly. Sorry, I'm not a garbage recycling station, I don't take trash, Su Tingshan roared furiously. Song Jiaoran, I've already knelt before you. What more do you want from me? I leaned down and whispered in his ear, I want you dead, but before that, I want you to endure torment neither human nor ghost could bear. After speaking, I turned and strode away, leaving him to his impotent rage behind me. It took me a week to acquire the former industry leader, Su Corporation, but I didn't dismantle or sell it, the structure remained unchanged, no projects or staff were cut. The only difference was that I became the boss, at the victory banquet. All the industry titans attended, once they came for my parents, now they come for me. Perhaps I performed too exceptionally, or perhaps those executives discovered their daughters also had talent. Visibly, there are increasingly more female heirs now. The banquet no longer features uniform strapless mini dresses and high heels, but more women in sleek culottes. Now we too can hold champagne flutes while discussing multi-million-dollar projects with the men. Gave it my all and finally got the admission ticket. 12. After the Su group was acquired, Su Tingshan was also kicked out of the Su family, only receiving a small portion of Grandpa Su's inheritance, so he started his own business, dreaming of making a comeback and crushing me under his feet. Perhaps given some time, he might actually make progress, but how could I possibly let him live another peaceful day? Starting a business, discussing projects, failing, starting over, discussing projects again. Failing again, the cycle repeated. His funds were long exhausted, and the loan shark's demands kept growing. He thought his family would help him repay, but only after losing a hand did he realize his fear and went back to beg his father to settle the debts. The outcome was that Su Lu humiliated him mercilessly, so that beast Su Tingshan wanted to sell Zhou Sisi to pay off his debts. Zhou Sisi was completely disillusioned with him by then and came to find me. Song Jiaoran, please, save me. I don't want to be sold to that kind of place by him, I asked her. How do you want me to save you? Help pay off his debts, she said through gritted teeth. That beast deserves to die. I just beg you to give me a job, I'll do anything. That man wouldn't dare harass you. I nodded in satisfaction. Good, if she'd said to help pay the debts, I would have had security throw her out. Although Su Tingshan's reason for killing me in my past life was because of her. That was merely an excuse from a selfish and malicious man, nothing more than wanting women to hate each other and engage in petty competition. In this world where gender inequality has persisted for so long, many women have faced son preference and discrimination from the moment they were born. To secure their privileges, they continuously seek to subjugate women. I am one of the lucky ones, but I hope more and more women will be as fortunate as I am in the future. She works extremely hard and is very diligent. While not exceptionally outstanding, she performs much better than the average man. Su Tingran came looking for Zhou Qianqian and even tried to harass her. She ended up splashing prepared coffee in his face. Watching him writhe in pain on the ground, she said with disgust, "If you harass me again, I'll call the police, you disgusting piece of trash." The timid little woman who once stood meekly behind men has finally broken free from her shell. Embracing a new life. 13. Su Tingshan, unable to repay his debts, had his kidney harvested and was then sent to work in a male brothel, beginning his life as a prostitute. What pervert wouldn't want a taste of the once proud and privileged elite? In the end, he was played to death, his face twisted in agony and horror. It said he kept screaming my name until his last breath, talking nonsense about rebirth and other mystical things. The Su family refused to accept his ashes. Zhou Qianqian went to collect them, then directly poured them into the sewage ditch. This counts as returning something to its rightful owner. That actually makes a lot of sense. She treated me to dinner at the revolving restaurant in the evening. It's very expensive here, costing her nearly half a month's salary. You know what, the first time I saw you, I was so jealous. How could there be such a beautiful and outstanding girl? The reason I cried at that banquet was because it was the first time someone told me those words, that women have the right to make their own choices. Although I have a younger brother at home and my parents don't particularly favor sons over daughters, they've taught me since childhood to do laundry and cook, to speak softly, not to be too opinionated, and not to steal the spotlight. Yet what they taught my brother was to aim for first place, to become stronger and more outstanding. Not to be as unpromising as a woman, or else he'd be looked down upon. Today is the day of my business marriage with Su Tingshan. The wedding cost millions, with a seaside banquet, romantic and beautiful. Actually, if Su Tingshan hadn't married me at that wedding, I would have jumped into the river to kill myself. I even had the suicide note prepared. Do you think I'm foolish? But that's just how it is where I'm from. A woman must stay with the man she first gives herself to. Otherwise she'll be looked down upon. No man would want me, and it would bring shame and disgrace to my parents. But now I understand that a woman is never a man's appendage. She can be herself, have her own career, and even be stronger than men. When my parents